Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are LA.
Angels spring training baseball is on the air from Tempe Diablo Stadium. The Angels host the Oakland A's. Hi, everybody. This is Terry Smith along with Jose Mota and our producer-engineer Darren Chan, welcoming you on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Well, Jose, the Angels are in Tempe, certainly familiar with this territory, the Cactus League home opener. And today we'll see the pitcher who figures to be the ace for the Angels as far as that starting rotation. That'll be Garrett Richards.
There's no doubt, Terry, that you have to have a go-to guy to be a reputable staff. And in this case, we know what Garrett Richards means to the Angels. Go back to last season and the very last game, Mike Scioscia throwing him on a very significant game on 3 days rest. So the Angels came up a little bit short, but there's no doubt. His stuff playing 95 to 97 miles an hour, improving on that breaking ball. He is as healthy as he's been in a couple of seasons. And now with his new pitching coach and Charles Nagy saying, we know all we want from us to trust his stuff, go out there and not worry about anything else. But one thing we know, too, is his mechanics are much cleaner than they were last season.
What a difference a spring makes for Richards. Last spring, he's trying to stay healthy, test out that knee. Passed the test last season with 15 victories.
He did an outstanding job in establishing career high and, opens and going out to, start a lot of games. But also, Terry, his quality starts, 24 quality starts. Again, a guy that with the stuff that he has is the one pitcher and many other teams don't want to see when they face the Angels.
All right, well, we know Garrett Richards figures to be the anchor as far as the Angels rotation, the number one starter in the rotation. Mike Scioscia has a lot of options for spots 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Well, depth is so important. Major League teams average 8.5 starters last year per team. I mean, the Angels use 9 starters. You take the Houston Astros, they use 13 starters. But you got to know that you got to count some guys. There's going to be a lot of competition. Right now, there's a couple of guys. C.J. Wilson is a little bit behind right now. So is Tyler Skaggs, even though he's progressing so well. But nonetheless, you got to go out there and trust guys that you have. Andrew Heaney is another one of those guys that came out of nowhere from a year ago. A guy that right now you can trust. And certainly what we saw yesterday from Santiago and from Shoemaker is very encouraging as to them fighting also for a spot in that rotation.
All right, let's move to the offensive side a little bit. Yesterday in the opener against the Giants in Scottsdale, we saw Johnny Giavotella as the Angels' leadoff man. Like Scioscia said, don't read a whole lot into that. Yunel Escobar is the leadoff man. Today he wasn't at Scottsdale yesterday. We'll see how he fares in that role, and he might be the leadoff man when we start the 2016 season.
Oh, he's got the inside edge. A career on base percentage fairly high. It's all about feeding Mike Trout and the guys up the middle. And Yunel Escobar is one of those names and transactions that right now is kind of flying under the radar. This guy's a reputable player. He's made a nice transition at third base. He's got some good hands. And the fact that he doesn't care where he hits. This guy was one of the best hitters in the National League last year with the Washington Nationals and is very welcoming to be hitting in a lineup that includes Calhoun, Trout, and Albert Pujols.
All right, you mentioned Cole Calhoun. Let's talk about him. He's in the lineup for the Angels today in the number 2 spot, coming off of 26 home runs and a Gold Glove last year.
Oh, you know what? He really took it to the next level, Terry. This guy had an all-star caliber year without being named an all-star. You mentioned the fact that he's taking better routes. He's going to go out there and pound some home runs. He wants to consciously cut down on the strikeouts. That's a plus. Is he going to hit second, or is he going to protect Albert Pujols in the middle of the lineup? But one thing we know from Calhoun, he is a true gamer now, whose number has been retired here in Buckeye High School. Tremendous.
So the Angels taking on the Oakland A's here at Tempe Diablo Stadium. A little bit overcast. The weather has cooled down just a little bit, but a couple of division rivals will square off today here in Tempe. Pitching matchup, Garrett Richards, we mentioned, goes for the Angels, and he will be opposed by left-hander Eric Surkamp. It's the Angels and the A's. Cactus League Baseball. It's coming up next on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West.
And we are back here at Tempe Diablo Stadium, the Angels' first home game here of the Cactus League after dropping the initial game yesterday for the San Francisco Giants. Jose Mota, Terry Smith, the Angels' 24th season here training in Tempe. Lineups brought to you by McDonald's. I'm loving it. For division rivals, Oakland A's. A speedster, Billy Burns, leads off in center field. Chris Coghlan, recently acquired Coghlan from the Cubs, is batting second at second base. Also another recent acquisition, Chris Davis, is batting third. He comes from the Brewers, designated hitter. Yonder Alonso, another new A, batting fourth at first base. Marcus Semien, the shortstop, will bat fifth. Batting sixth is Andrew Lambeau in left field. Max Muncy starts at third base, batting seventh for the A's. Bruce Maxwell is a catcher, batting eighth. And Sanfold is in right field. He's batting ninth for Oakland. For my associates, Angels, making his debut as an Angel is Yunel Escobar, leading off at third base, batting second. Gamer Cole Calhoun in right field. Mike Trout, another MVP caliber season last season. Trout, 41 home runs last year, is in center field, batting third. CJ Cron is a designated hitter, batting fourth. New Angel Giovanni Soto, catcher, batting fifth. Jeffrey Marte with a lot of power. He's playing first base. We saw him play a little bit of third yesterday. Marte is batting sixth. Daniel Nava in the mix for the job in left field. He is in left, batting seventh. Johnny Giovatella is batting eighth at second base. And at shortstop, batting ninth, is Ray Navarro. For the Angels, Garrett Richards, he's on the mound. The Angels are set to go. And for the A's is lefty Eric Surkamp. For the play-by-play is my spring training partner, Terry Smith.
Thank you so much, Jose. Umpires this afternoon calling balls and strikes. Rob Drake on the bases. Kerwin Danley, Ron Kulpa, and Stu Sherwater. So we are set for baseball as Richards gets the sign from Soto. First pitch today, and it's chopped foul over near the Angels dugout on the first base side. So we're underway in the count, no balls and one strike. Well, the Angels got the Cactus League underway yesterday, dropped the game to the Giants 4-1. And this is the first spring training game for Oakland today. They begin here in Tempe. There's a shot into left center field and making a nice lunging catch and taking that one out of midair is Mike Trout. Welcome back, Mike Trout. Didn't see him yesterday. First play of the game today. Fine defensive performance by the Angel center fielder.
Well, there's nothing new about that one. The jump that he got, the way that he was shifting there on Billy Burns, enough information on Burns for the Angels to know he was quite a thorn on their side last season. And Trout outstanding. First of all, the jump, first step, and then the route taken by number 27. What new?
So the next batter for Oakland is Chris Coghlan, and he is playing second base. And they got him less than a month ago. He came over from the Chicago Cubs. Left-handed batter, and the first pitch takes that one for a ball.
This is how much the game has changed with the shifting. Chris Coghlan is not a power hitter. Chris Coghlan rolls over a lot. He's got a shift on right now. Something you saw for years only against guys that could really smoke the ball on a pull side.
Here's the next pitch, and Coghlan takes that one for a called strike. Mentioned.
At times it should be, hurtful, even insulting for guys that are contact hitters to see this happening to them.
Coghlan last year with the Cubs hit .250, and he was an everyday player for them for the most part a year ago. Takes that one outside. Got 16 home runs, 41 runs batted in, and they played in 148 games. Cubs had a little extra as far as outfielders. And when they brought back Dexter Fowler, Coghlan became expendable. They traded him here to Oakland. There's a pitch in there for a called strike.
Garrett Richards, electric stuff. He can maintain 95, 97. It doesn't matter if it's pitch number 1, if it's pitch number 110. He is that strong, mechanically cleaner, as his new pitching coach, Charles Nagy, was telling me before the game. No worries at all about rehabbing this past offseason.
Next pitch hit sharply, but a liner, and that one is caught over there on the left side. So with the shift on, Angels had only one infielder over there, and that was Ray Navarro. He makes the grab on that low line drive for the second out. A couple of line outs here to start up the game for the A's. Chris Davis will be the next batter.
one of those shifts where the Angels have third baseman Escobar playing in short right field.
So here's Davis, and he was another player that the Oakland A's picked up not too long ago. Came over from the Milwaukee Brewers. That was last month. And he's a guy, Jose, he can hit the ball out of the ballpark.
This guy's got great power.
Right-handed batter. 27 home runs a year ago with the Milwaukee Brewers in the pitch. Takes a big swing at that one and fouls it back to the screen.
Those dimensions he's going to find, obviously, in the American League West. He's got Texas, friendly. Houston, friendly. Then he's going to run into some ballparks that are tough, including his home ballpark in Oakland. Angel Stadium, of course, in Seattle.
Richards is ready, and here comes the next pitch on Davis. He almost went after that one. Angels won an appeal, but they say he was holding up. Mentions here at Tempe Diablo Stadium, it's 340 down the left field side, dead center 420, right field side down in the corner there, a long 360 to right. Here's the next pitch on Davis, and this one is popped high in the air, shallow right field. Cole Calhoun is circling under. He will make the grab, and the inning is over. So Richards sets him down cleanly in the top of the first. No score as we go to the bottom of the inning on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Driven by
catch, but if he does catch it, and without that momentum going that way, I'm going to tag. But perhaps there's one where early spring training, he started thinking about that and saying, we got to do a better job just following the ball the next time.
So here is Trout, and he steps up with 2 aboard, and he takes the first pitch outside. This is the kind of situation that Mike Scioscia is hoping he'll see a lot of during the regular season. Table setters setting that table for Trout.
Here it is. Absolutely.
Trout, 41 home runs a year ago, career high, and that one is outside. And the count on Mike, 2 balls, no strikes.
He and Albert were right there, one against the other, pretty much all season long, combining for 81 home runs.
2-0 is the count. Surkamp is behind here on Trout. And the next pitch, he goes after that one, pops it into shallow right field. That's going to fall in for a base hit. Stopping at third is Escobar. Making a big turn at second was Calhoun. I think maybe he thought that Escobar might score on that one. But in any case, the Angels have had 3 straight singles, have loaded them up for the cleanup batter, C.J. Cron.
Calhoun got a good read. He understands Mike Trout. He goes the other way. He gets jammed on that one, strong enough to pop it over in short right field. Escobar once again not getting the best of reads, but certainly with this swing he knew the ball got in on Trout, and considering where Fuld was playing here so far in Tempe Diablo, another one for Escobar to take notice on.
So runners everywhere for the Angels with no outs here in the bottom of the first, and the first pitch, it's low and inside on C.J. Cron. Cron was one of a few number of Angel regulars who played against the Giants yesterday, went 1 for 3 in that game, and he has a chance to do some first inning damage right here. Surkamp is set, and the next pitch Cron takes, that's right in there for a strike.
Cron had some beautiful swings yesterday against the Giants over in Scottsdale, driving a ball on a line to the right field corner, staying with the ball very well. So far his timing has been outstanding all throughout batting practice.
Here's the next pitch, and a big cut and a miss. Cron meant business with that swing, but misses it, so he's in the hole 1-2. Surkamp is a finesse lefty. He's a big guy at 6'5", but he doesn't throw that hard. Fastball top out around 91. Has a good curveball, solid changeup. Throw a cutter and the pitch. This is lifted in the air in the left center field. This figures to be deep enough to get the runner in from third. Making the grab on the fly ball is Burns. Tagging and scoring will be Escobar. Calhoun will tag and move to third. And on the sacrifice fly, it's 1-0 Angels.
Angels getting it done by putting the ball in play. There's a true value to that, especially in situational hitting. There it is. Shorter swings, finding contact, elevating the baseball. Cron is going to be dependent upon to drive in some big runs behind Pujols. Goes out there and gets it done. And that was much easier to read for Yunel Escobar, too.
Yeah. So here is Soto, the Angels catcher, Giovanni Soto, who was with the White Sox last season. Here's the pitch, and he takes that one high for ball 1. It's 1 ball, no strikes.
Soto had a good season. If you look at his power production as a backup for the White Sox, Angels took notice early in the offseason and said, well, he'd be a great guy to match up with our youngster, Carlos Perez.
Soto 9 home runs as a reserve catcher a year ago. Here's the pitch, and that one is in there for a strike. Most people probably don't remember he was the Rookie of the Year in the National League. You have to go back a number of years when he was with the Chicago Cubs. Rookie of the Year in 2008.
As was somebody also playing for the A's, and Chris Coghlan, former Rookie of the Year himself.
Here's the pitch. That one is chopped on the third base side. The throw to second for 1. The relay to first. It's a double play, and that's how the inning will end. So the Angels have to settle for 1 run here in the bottom of the first. It's 1-0 Angels as we go to the second on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West.
nephew this year. His name is Mike. I don't know what his last name is. He's just big. I don't know what he's going to get up and down the stairs.
This copyrighted broadcast presented by authority of Angels Baseball may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of today's game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Angels Baseball. So we go to the second. Halos up by a run, 1-0. And leading things off for Oakland is Yonder Alonso. And the first pitch, that one is right in there for a called strike. 0-1 to count. Alonso with the Padres last year, hit .282. Had some injury issues last season, a shoulder problem. Appeared in 103 games, and first year now with Oakland. The count, 1-1
His former manager, Buddy Black, watching closely in the Angels dugout. Buddy Black, now a special advisor to baseball operations here for the Halos. Welcome back to the family. And for Alonso, Terry, it's just keeping him on the field.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, he came up with a lot of promise for the Cincinnati system. Got traded to San Diego, but certainly has not yet shown what he can do consistently on a baseball field. A lot of potential.
1-2 pitch, and he rips that one foul right over his dugout on the third base side. Count 1-2. He's had a lot of various hand injuries. Speaking of Alonso, I mentioned last year shoulder problem, but he's had some hand problems back in 2009, 2014 season. Left-handed batter. Here's the next pitch. He takes that one a little bit low. I think Garrett Richards thought he might have had him looking right there.
It's a good job of framing, too, there by Giovanni Soto, the veteran, giving Richards a nice frame and a nice target to throw to. And perhaps Rob Drake didn't see the slight cut at the very end of that pitch.
Richards' pitchers have a lot of movement. There's no doubt about that. And the 2-2 delivery. That one low and outside. So the count runs full, 3-2.
So I'm talking to Charles Nagy, Angels pitching coach. He says, what I want to see from him today is pound the zone. Don't be afraid of contact. Do not worry about velocity. But, yeah, go out there and experiment a little bit more, especially with the changeup.
Here's the pitch, and on the payoff delivery, it's way high and outside. A fastball misses, so leadoff walk. Alonso is on, first base runner for the A's, and Marcus Semien, their shortstop, will be the next batter. Alonso, not much of a stolen base threat. Base runner over there at first base.
Beer and water!
And here is Semien, a right-handed batter. Infield at double play depth. Richards is ready. And here's the pitch. Semien takes that one for ball one. Semien last season led the majors in errors, and he also set an all-time A's record for errors by a shortstop.
And here's the deal. Now he's got Ron Washington full-time in the staff. Ron joined the staff for part of the season last year. But now you see Ronnie, former manager, coaching third, and he was a big piece of making him better defensively.
There's a ball that's well hit out there in left field. It's a one-hopper off the wall in left. Firing the ball back to the infield is Nava, but not before Semien has a double. Alonso stops at third, and the A's have something brewing, two in scoring position, nobody out for the next batter, Andrew Lambeau.
Well, that's one thing the A's did notice, even with his defensive shortcomings, on the potential of the bat, on how well Semien has the ability to drive the baseball. That was a little thunder off that bat there.
So Lambeau gets ready to bat. He spent a little bit of time with the Pirates last year and struggled offensively. Left-handed batter, 27 years old. So Richards is in some trouble. Double the first hit in the ball game for the A's, but they have two in scoring position here. Leadoff walk and then the double. And Richards has to get to work now. He's ready, and the pitch. Drilled foul down the right side. That ball was hit hard, but foul back to the seats.
That's a good job taking something off of that breaking ball. How's that helped But it didn't come out in time out of his hand as it took a lot of speed off of it. With Lambeau sitting on it.
Lambeau from Newbury Park, California. A's got him off the waiver wire from Pittsburgh this offseason. He can play in the outfield, some first base.
And you know who had a chance to coach him in high school against him? Mark Gubiza coached against him at, as we mentioned, at Newbury Park High School, where Gubi also shares that Lambeau was a very good pitcher.
So right now, it's no balls and 2 strikes on Lambeau. And Soto's going to go out to the mound and have a quick word here with Garrett Richards. We want to remind Angel fans the Angels opening series at the Big A is right around the corner on Monday, April the 4th, just a little over a month away. And then on Tuesday, April the 5th, the Angels will take on the Chicago Cubs, those 2 games at the Big A. Every game matters, so visit Angels.com to purchase your tickets today. Speaking of the Cubs, we'll see them tomorrow in Mesa.
We're going to see the Cubs a whole lot this season.
And there's a pitch that's bounced in. It gets away from Soto. He really didn't have much of a shot on that one. That's a wild pitch all the way, and that's going to bring in a run and tie up the game. And Simeon moves over to third.
The toughest guy to catch on the Angels staff for that reason. The ball moves so much. His stuff is so good. The breaking ball has so much in terms of revolution and tightness. And when that ball hits the dirt, man, it's not easy to keep it in front of you or at least under control. And that's why you can see a lot of wild pitches throughout the career of Garrett Richards.
So it's a 1-1 ball game. Still nobody out. Runner at third. There's another pitch that bounces in, and boy, Soto did a good job to stop that one, or that could have been another run. And now the count's even. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Richards had 17 wild pitches last season and 22 the year before. And a lower amount of innings.
And you hate seeing them come with a runner at third base. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the next pitch. That's a shot into the right center. That's going to fall in. An RBI hit. Coming in and scoring is Simeon. Lambeau has an RBI single, and the A's have a 2-1 lead. Max Muncy will be the next batter.
He was solid all the way at bat there for the youngster Andrew Lambeau. Really quiet approach all the way around. Good hand action, good coordination, and just the smooth swing flat through the zone, and where he's allowing Garrett Richards to provide all the power.
Well, Richards had a 1-2-3 first inning, but along the way, a couple of lineouts against him, and they've hit the ball hard against them so far here, scoring a couple of runs. Here's Muncy, another left-handed batter. They have 6 swinging left-handed in this lineup, and the pitch called strike on the outside corner. Muncy played a little bit with the A's last year, 45 games, hit only .206.
And all this started with, of course, pitcher's enemy number 1, the leadoff walk.
And the pitch, that one is fouled back. Yeah, when you walk the leadoff man, and then later on in the inning, he scores on a wild pitch, that's got to be in your head a little bit.
There's no doubt. I mean, that's what we say sometimes baseball could be so unfair, and it is.
Yeah.
You got to just stand with it. Eric Surkamp gave up 3 consecutive singles and allowed 1 run to begin the game.
2 strikes here on Muncy. There's another one low and smothered nicely by Soto. So Richards has been bouncing in some pitches here in this inning. Soto's getting a workout out there behind the plate.
Bonnie's sturdy. He's adapted well to being an everyday catcher with the Cubs. As you mentioned, Rookie of the Year, to just being a veteran that you can just allow him to rest somebody else. But, of course, he's here to earn some playing time, too, with Cardinals.
Next pitch, and once he takes that one low and outside. Angels already have action in the bullpen. Left-hander Nate Smith is warming up, so Richards was hoping to go 2 full innings or 30 pitches, and now there's some concern about that pitch count. Obviously, here he's thrown a lot already in the second, and nobody out.
This is pitch number 30 coming up here.
And there's a toss over to first base, and back to the bag goes Lambeau.
I don't think Jeffrey Marte knew how heavy and how hard Garrett Richards throws a baseball. He almost took the first baseman with him there on that throw.
Shift is on that right side of the infield. Only one infielder on the left side, but the left-handed hitting Muncy batting. Counts even. 2-2 delivery. Low and inside. So it's a full count.
Different philosophy now for the Angels from what we saw the last couple of seasons. With new pitching coach Charles Nagy. The Angels were pushing the last 2 springs for starters first time out to go 3 innings. Or close to 45 pitches. Now has been retracted back to the more traditional 2 innings, 30 pitches, or right around that.
Here's the next pitch. This one is bounced right near the second base bag. It's fielded by Simmons, and then the throw over to first base is going to be wide. They get the out at second, though. But the batter is safe over there at first base, or I should say Navarro over there on that throw. And that throw kind of took off a little bit on Ray Navarro.
You got a lot of pieces moving where Navarro starts on one side of second base, has to come back to his right, step on the bag. Now it becomes a regular play as you're playing shortstop and getting momentum over to first base. And Marte unable to come up with that short throw.
So 1 out, still a runner at first base. And the pitch, that's right down the heart of the plate on Bruce Maxwell. He's catching for Oakland today, left-handed batter.
And that was already pitch number 21 this inning for Richards after throwing only 11 in the first inning.
So you kind of wonder how much longer he'll go here in the top of the second. Here's the next pitch, and low again, and another ball smothered by Soto.
At this point, you're just waiting for somebody to wave the hat over in the right field bullpen and said he's ready. There's no way to overextend anybody at this point, this early, especially on the guy that's pretty much become your ace.
Oakland up 2-1 and batting here in the second. Next pitch. That is low and inside. Richards getting behind hitters in this inning. Sam Fuld waiting on deck. Veteran player trying to win a reserve outfield spot with the A's again this spring. Here's the next pitch. This one is chopped down near second base. Could be 2. Flip to second. Relay on to first. It is a double play, and that's how the inning will end. So 4-6-3 on the Twin killing. Couple runs, though, in the inning for the A's. They have a 2-1 lead on the Angels as we go to the bottom of the second on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Jeffrey Marte leads it off for the Angels against Eric Surkamp. And the first pitch taken up and in for ball one. It's 1 ball, no strikes. 2-1 Oakland as we start the bottom of the second. Left-hander's pitch, and it's on the outside part of the plate, a called strike. So it's 1-1 on Marte. We saw him in yesterday's game against the Giants. He went 0 for 2. Saw him at third base yesterday, first base today, and the next pitch outside. And the count goes to 2-1. Our game time temperature today, 88 degrees. A little bit hazy when we got underway. Now the sun has popped out.
We for sure welcome those clouds.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a little cooler here in the next few days. The Valley of the Sun.
Yeah. There's one to tie it away. Ball 3. 3 balls, 1 strike. Marte is a player who has good power. He had 15 home runs last year in AAA, had 4 more with the Detroit Tigers, and he showed the power there. He drills that ball a long way, but way foul down the left side. And the count on Marte.
He's shown some great power to right center field here in the early workouts. Mike Scioscia really praising the good at-bats he had yesterday over in Scottsdale against the Giants.
Next pitch, grounds that one sharply, but foul on the third base side. So a couple strikes on Marte.
Added value when a guy that can hit the ball out of the ballpark goes out there and shorten things up and gives you the option of being a good situational hitter, as Marte did yesterday. Moving guys over from second to third.
Here's the next pitch, and on the payoff delivery, he takes that one borderline. It's ball 4. So leadoff walk. That's how the A's second inning began, and then they build on that. Daniel Nava will be the next batter for the Angels. Switch hitter. He'll bat from the right side against the lefty.
Well, here it is. One of the many questions for the Angels fan base, especially left field. How will that be answered? And the Angels are hoping that it is Daniel Nava and Craig Gentry.
Toss over to first. Marte gets back to the bag.
And historically, Nava, a very solid on-base percentage throughout his career. In fact, he's a guy that throughout his career also has worked deep at bats. And that could be quite welcoming if you're going to hit second or hit in the bottom third lineup.
Here's the pitch. That is a liner, but right at the shortstop. Jumping up and catching it is Simeon. It was hit sharply by Nava, but he's retired. First out here in the Angels' second. Johnny Giavotella will be the batter.
For Nava, one of the questions too, Terry, is to ask and prove the numbers wrong on his splits between batting against right-handers and against left-handers. Much better hitter from the left side, but that's a nice start right there to his spring. Solid line drive, even though it's an out.
So here's Giavotella. He was the leadoff man yesterday against the Giants, went 0 for 3. And today he's hitting in the 8 hole. The pitch drilled right up the middle. That's going to fall in for a base hit. Moving up to second base will be Marte. Angels have a couple aboard. Only 1 out, and Ray Navarro will be the next batter.
Gotta love Johnny Giavotella, man. Brings at 1 speed every single game. And how big was he for the Angels turning the bottom of that lineup, especially with big RBIs later in games. Outstanding. But, as you know, I do have a soft spot for Johnny G as a leadoff hitter because the Angels did very well when he led off last year.
They did. Sure did.
The Angels were 26 and 13 on games when Johnny led off and averaged 4.95 runs per game when Johnny led off.
Well, you could also certainly argue, Jose, that had Giavotella not suffered the vision problem last season and was in the lineup day in and day out, and he missed a good month or so this season, had he stayed healthy, the Angels could have very well been in the postseason last year.
I'm right with you. A 1-month slip by the Angels in August, 10-19 record, pretty much wrote him off.
Yeah, they missed his bat, no doubt about it. It happened, they put him on the DL last August. First pitch was in there on Ray Navarro. He spent a little time with Baltimore last year, infielder, and the pitch, that one is a little bit low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Navarro, most of last year in AAA, 10 games with the Orioles last year, hit .276.
He's one of those players, a veteran that knows and understands he's fighting for some playing time and to be a reputable backup if he doesn't make the ball club. And playing behind Anderson Simmons and behind Johnny Givatello up the middle.
Here's the pitch, and he cuts it. That one and misses the pitch. It was high and outside. So 1-2 on Navarro. The Angels claimed him off waivers from the Orioles back in December.
Solid player all the way around, knowledgeable. And in the winter, he was managed by Alex Cora with the Caguas Criollos in Puerto Rico.
Yep, Puerto Rican native, and the pitch, he chops that one off his foot. Ball ricocheted up the third base side, and now Navarro has to kind of walk it off. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Second inning, and the Angels trailing Oakland by a run, 2-1.
So another player really has looked way more comfortable now after a full year in the United States. Is Roberto Baldachin, huh? Night and day from what we saw last spring, even though on limited time.
Yeah. Saw him take some batting practice today. He's put together, Baldachin. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and the next one on Navarro. A little pop foul on the first base side. Coming over, making the grab in foul territory is Alonso, the first baseman. So that's not what Navarro was hoping to do there with 1 out and 2 on. He pops out in foul ground. 2 are gone now, and Escobar will be the next hitter.
Well, for Eric Surkamp, go ahead and bury that cut fastball in as you're reading a late swing for a guy like Navarro.
Escobar singled and scored in the first inning. We'll see what he does here. His second at bat. Base hit could mean a run and tie it up. A's have some action in their bullpen right now. They have a right-hander warming up. And the next delivery that's outside, it misses. Garrett Richards' day is likely over for the Angels. So he went 2 innings today, allowing a couple hits and a pair of runs. Escobar back in there. Awaits the 1-0 pitch from Surkamp. He's set, has the sign. A look at second. Here's the pitch, and that breaking ball in there for a called strike.
Escobar played 139 games last season for the Nationals. 9 home runs, 56 RBIs. He had 45 walks, only 70 strikeouts. Only stole 2 bases, but it was .314 average, top 10 in the National League. He also had a .375 on base percentage.
Here's the pitch, and that one is outside. He had a season just a couple years ago, 2013, where he had the best fielding percentage of any shortstop in the majors.
Call that infield by the Tampa Bay Rays. That was pretty outstanding.
Here's the next pitch. That's fouled off on the right side, backing out of play.
When you talk about consistency, last season Escobar in a .314 average, .314 against lefties, .314 against righties. .371 on base percentage against lefties, .376 on base percentage against right-handers.
2-2 the count. He's battling here against Surkamp. And the 2-strike delivery. This one is chopped it right to short. Simeon has it, has time to throw, and he will get him. And the Angels are retired. Escobar grounding out to short. Angels fail to score in the second, so we go to the third. It's 2-1 Oakland on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Angel fans, don't forget, take part in the Angels 5K and Fun Run. It's presented by St. Joseph Hoag Health on April the 9th at the Big A. Now, all participants will receive a commemorative shirt and finisher's medal. Register today at angels.com/5K. So, sure enough, Garrett Richards' day is done, as we speculated, and Mike Morin, right-handed reliever, gets ready for his first outing this spring for the Angels. 47 games a year ago for the Angels. High earned run average. He had a tough sophomore season, if you will, for the Angels last year. 6.37 ERA. But he did seem to get things straightened out a little bit more, Jose, near the end of last season. Became a little bit more reliable and looked more like the Morin from the 2014 season.
Fastball velocity is up and incorporated with that outstanding plus changeup. Very important. Also, slider is going to be a big pitch for him because he can move things down, not just north and south, but laterally. Those hitters need to see different looks from you.
First pitch on Sam Fold, in there for a strike, and that one is in there for a called strike, and the count is 0-2. Fold a year ago hit 197 as a reserve outfielder for the Oakland A's. He's 34 years old. Left-handed batter. And the next pitch, that one is outside. So 1-2 the count. Burns and Coghlan will follow. Oakland with a 2-1 lead as we start the third inning. Morin's next pitch, and that is right in there on the inside corner. Struck him out looking.
Got him looking. Changeup, and there it goes. Absolutely frozen. 4 pitches, and he got rid of Sam Fold. Turning for the Angels in that 7th inning. You consider he pretty much set on the back end with 8 and 9 with Joe Smith and Houston Street. But because of the injury to Houston Street last year, then he moved Joe Smith to number 9, and guys became more reliable the more Mike Scioscia needed them towards the end of the season. Really stepped up from Bedrosian to Morin, as you mentioned. Joe Smith consistent. Salas. Yesterday you mentioned Jojo Reyes for one batter. I mean, all these things happened, but Bedrosian became more reliable with more responsibilities, and those are the things you need to see.
First pitch on Burns, taken for a ball. The count 1 ball, no strikes. Billy Burns was one of the better rookie position players in the American League last year. He takes that one low. 2 balls, no strikes.
He got robbed in his first at bat by who else but Mike Trout. Mike Trout also, Terry, very happy as are so many Angels players, because the number 27 before Trout was Vladimir Guerrero, who was here as an instructor.
Yeah. Here's the next pitch. It's an easy one-hopper hit to Marte, the first baseman, and he will beat Burns to the bag.
So we had a reunion of 3 MVPs here today in Pujols, Trout, and Vladdy Guerrero on the field. And Vladdy will be here through today. He's been here for about a week. Who does not welcome that smile here, huh?
Yep. Yeah, good to see Vlad back in an Angel uniform. I was kidding him the other day. I said, you still look like you're in real good shape. Are you going to try a comeback? He said, no, I'm done. I'm done.
We'll tell you a little insight on that. Mike Trout said, Vladdy, why do you make a comeback? Okay? And I'll give you number 27. How about that?
Take the uniform right off his back.
He said, you know what? You can have number 27. You have way better numbers than I do in your career. So how about that nice gesture by Mr. Trout?
Yep. Coghlan at the plate. He lined out his first time up. First pitch was in there, and there's a check swing and a little tapper back near the mound. Nice stop by Morin. Underhands the toss, and that was a quick 1-2-3 clean inning for the Angel reliever. Bottom of the third is coming up. Angels will have Calhoun, Trout, and Crone stepping up against Oakland to 2-1 A's lead on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Cole Calhoun will lead off the bottom of the third. Angels down by a run 2-1. New pitcher for the Oakland A's, and it is Ryan Doolittle. Got a little different look going. He has the stirrups on. And the pitch on its way. That one is cut on and missed. Well, let's double check there on the pitcher for the Oakland A's. Ryan Doolittle is a lefty. This is number 64, which is Doolittle's number. So we'll do a little double checking on that. There's one that's fouled off. Well, I said he had a little different look going, so.
We have a Sean Doolittle, who is the lefty.
And this is Ryan Doolittle.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Ryan Doolittle. And they have Sean Doolittle as well.
The bullpen that really missed Sean Doolittle last year.
There's a pitch that is outside, and the count 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Cole Calhoun, outstanding season. Flying Rojo. All-star caliber year. Gold Glover. And now with his high school number retired, not too far from here at Buckeye.
Here's the 1-2 on Calhoun. He had him reaching at that one and fouls that one off.
Hey, right there. One of the things that Calhoun has brought into camp is that he says, I need to be better with 2 strikes. Yes, the strikeouts piled up way too high last season. So that swing right there tells me those are some of the things he's been working on in the backfields and in batting practice on a slight different approach with 2 strikes and being more on protection mode. That's going to really cut it down.
Here's the 1-2. And that one is outside. Well, Calhoun ended up 3rd in the American League in striking out last year. 164 strikeouts last season.
And sometimes that's a problem you run into because you have 2 back-to-back guys that strike out a lot in Calhoun and Trout.
Here's the next pitch. A little flare into shallow left center. It's going to drop in for a base hit. Just got it out of the reach of Simeon, the shortstop, who was retreating back on the outfield grass, and Lambeau couldn't come in from left field. So Cole Calhoun's 2 for 2. Leadoff hit to start off the 3rd inning, and Mike Trout will be the batter.
Standing job, 2-strike approach, get jammed, be a little bit late, and that's going to get you not necessarily more hits, but certainly more opportunities to get some runs in with 2 strikes and stay alive and prolong the at-bat. Well done.
So here's Trout. He has a hit so far, 1 for 1. Also had a nice catch out in the outfield and left center. Right-hander against right-hander. The pitch popped foul on the right side, out of play. Let's pause for station identification on the Angels Baseball Radio Network. Terry Smith, Jose Mota, our producer engineer Darren Chan with you. We're in the bottom of the 3rd here in Tempe. It's 2-1 Oakland, and the pitch popped foul back behind the home plate area, back to the seats, out of play. 0-2 on Trout.
Mike Trout himself cut down the strikeouts last year down to 158. You already mentioned Calhoun, 164. But the irony with Mike Trout is the fact that he's a very good 2-strike hitter when he puts the ball in play. He's above league average with 2 strikes. He's unique in many ways.
Toss over to first base, and Calhoun back. Cole Calhoun had 4 stolen bases last year.
Terry, you're talking about a league average with 2 strikes. It's around 178. Mike Trout hit 229 with 2 strikes last year.
The pitch, he hits this one hard into center. That's going to drop in for a base hit right in front of Burns. A low line drive single. So Trout, just like Calhoun, now 2 for 2. Angels have runners at first and second. Nobody out to start off this third inning. And C.J. Cron, who's driven in a run, the only Angel run so far with a sac fly, will be the batter. This afternoon's game being brought to you by In-N-Out Burger. That's what a hamburger's all about.
What you're seeing today from Mike Trout is nothing new from what we've seen in past spring trainings. Last spring, Trout had an on-base percentage over 500.
Here's the first pitch on Cron, and that's in there. That ball popped out of the mid of the catcher Maxwell, but it was a strike. He quickly retrieves it. No advancement by the base runners. 0-1 the count on C.J. Cron.
Cron himself had a brilliant spring last year. He hit .413, an on base of .432. Slugged .733.
There's a pitch he takes outside. Soto waiting on deck. Rowan hitting cleanup again for the Angels today. Albert Pujols, who figures to be in that cleanup spot, as that one bounces in, and it kind of handcuffed the catcher Maxwell. The 2 runners will advance. So moving over to third is Cole Calhoun. Up to second base is Mike Trout. Still nobody out. 2 in scoring position. Hit could give the Angels the lead.
Good read there by Cole Calhoun at second base. Trout was going to make sure that Calhoun was taken off before he committed towards second base. And this right away changes the approach for C.J. Cron, where a ground ball can get you the run.
Here's the 2-1. He cuts it that one, fouls it off down the right side. It's going to get back and out of play. Mentioning Cron as the cleanup man, Albert's likely going to make his Cactus League debut on Sunday. That appears to be the case right now.
Which would put him on pace to be ready for the regular season.
Yep. The Angels will be hosting the world champion Kansas City Royals on Sunday. Here's the pitch. And staying alive is Cron. He fouls that one back to the screen.
Yeah, that's a pretty good job of staying alive right there.
Talking about the cleanup spot, Mike Scioscia even hinted today that there could be a point this season, depending on how things play out, where Cole Calhoun could bat behind Albert in the 5th hole as opposed to the 2 spot where he certainly figures to be when the season begins. And there's a swing and a miss, and down goes Cron. The ball picked up by the catcher Maxwell, completes a strikeout with a throw to first base. So not what Cron was hoping for there with 2 in scoring position, a strikeout. And Soto will be the next batter with 1 away.
Brings up a good point. We're talking about protection, sometimes balance, sometimes guarding against the matchups later in the game on the way you structure a lineup. I think one of the key things for the Angels, Terry, will be to make more contact behind the guys up the middle.
Yep.
You have to put the ball in play.
So here's Soto, and when he batted with a couple runners on base in the first inning, he hit into an inning-ending double play. Here's the pitch. He was jammed and fouls that one back behind the plate. Checking the out-of-town scoreboard. It's brought to you by Dodge Challenger. Estimated 30 miles per gallon highway. This car was made for driving. Visit Dodge.com. In the Florida Grapefruit League, Tampa Bay all over Baltimore. Final there was 10-3. Corey Dickerson a home run for his new club, the Rays. The pitch low and outside. Tigers leading the Braves 8-2 in the 8th inning. Victor Martinez with his second home run this spring for Detroit.
Dangerous lineup all the way around.
9th inning, Astros lead a Phillies split squad 3-1. Cardinals beat Florida 4-3. Washington beat the Mets 9-4. Next delivery in there, a called strike, and it's 1-2 on Soto. 9th inning, Toronto has a 10-7 lead against the Pirates. Justin Smoke a home run for Toronto, and the Yankees are trailing a Phillies split squad in the 8th inning 12-4. A-Rod has hit a home run for New York in that one. Next pitch chopped on the left side and through. It's going to be a base hit. Coming in and scoring will be Cole Calhoun. Soto has an RBI single that ties up the ball game. Trout moves over to third. It's 2-2, and Marte will be the next batter with runners at the corners.
Always good to get off to a good start. In spring, new ball club. Veteran catcher Giovanni Soto. It's something he could handle. Also learned from how Doolittle had approached C.J. Cron hitting in front of him. And from that on-deck circle, you can read so many things. Engaging speed, your timing, getting that foot down. But also, what is the breaking ball doing? Is it sweeping away? Does it have a tilt to it? Any downward action? And Soto did a good job adjusting quickly.
Yesterday's game against the Giants, and that was a game where the Angels did not travel many of the regulars to Scottsdale, but the Angels had only 4 hits in that game. The Angels have already had 7 hits, all singles so far today, and we're in the bottom of the third. 2-2 ball game. A hit could be another run, and that one is inside and misses on Marte, who walked his first time up. Ryan Doolittle pitching here for the Oakland A's. Not to be confused with Sean Doolittle, who's been a closer for them, trying to hold on to that role for Oakland this year. We'll see how their bullpen pans out. They've made a number of moves in their bullpen this season. 1 ball, 1 strike. Nava's waiting on deck for the Angels. Angels have on the red tops and the white pants, and the A's have on the green tops, gray pants. Here's a high pop-up foul third base side. Shading the eyes is Muncy over by his dugout. He's going to run out of room. It lands on the A's dugout roof. Fan that plays that high hop. Good job to get a souvenir baseball.
You got the right hop.
Yeah.
Let her come down. Get that second one. Easy room service hop right there. Nice job.
So staying alive with 2 strikes is Marte. Doolittle ready. Here's the next pitch, and that is a cut and a miss. Fooled him there off speed, struck him out. So a pair of strikeouts in the inning for Ryan Doolittle. Still 2 on, now 2 outs, and Nava needs a 2-out hit.
It's good to see Nava come up here now from this left side, which historically has been backed up by the statistics. His best side. Here's another option, Terry. High on base percentage guy. And you're talking about batting second. The Angels need to learn a whole lot from Daniel Nava.
Takes that pitch for a called strike.
And make the transition easy, fitting into the lineup.
Daniel Nava has always been a grinder. Played in independent league baseball. Was cut by his college baseball team. Stayed around. Eventually was a starter for them a season or 2 later. And here he delivers a base hit out of the reach of Simeon, the shortstop. Went the opposite way. That brings in Trout. That gives the Angels a 3-2 lead.
Standing approach all the way around after the Cron strikeout. Soto. Marte comes out with a strikeout. He was full. And then Nava cuts it down from the left side. Scoring Mike Trout. And Mike Trout scoring runs is, of course, nothing new. Just going back to last spring, again, as an example, Terry. He scored 22 runs in 22 games. So not only is he driving them in, because he also drove in 15 runs last spring, but he serves as a tremendous table setter for the guys in front of him. Or behind him, I should say.
So the Angels are up by a run. Here's Giavotella. He's already had a hit. 8 singles here for the Angels in less than 3 innings, and it's produced 3 runs at the moment. 2 outs, 2 on. And the pitch on Johnny Giavotella. It's a high chopper foul over on the third base side. So nothing in 1 to count. Fans, if your computer is running slow, Go to mycleanpc.com and get a free computer diagnosis. In minutes, you can activate MyCleanPC software to clean out the junk that may be slowing down your computer. That's mycleanpc.com. A's have more action in their bullpen. Here's the pitch. Giovitella takes that one. It caught the outside corner. Thought about chasing it, laid up it, and it was in there.
It's only 27 pitches this inning for Ryan Doolittle. All started with a very solid approach at 2 strikes by Cole Calhoun. That single to short left center field.
Giovitella asking for time, getting adjusted in the batter's box.
What do you need, young man? How many? 3, 4 of them?
Last season, Johnny Giovitella had the highest line drive percentage he's had in his career in the big leagues. Over 26%.
And the next delivery, it's bounced out to the shortstop. Simeon will flip to second, and it is just in time to get Nava. The inning will end on the fielder's choice. But the Angels do come up with a pair of runs to take a 3-2 lead. That's where we stand right now as we head to the top of the 4th on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Angels make a pitching change. Pitcher number 3 of the day is newcomer Al Albuquerque, former Detroit Tiger, right-hander. And the batters he is scheduled to face Davis, Alonso, and Simeon for the Oakland A's. Albuquerque, 67 games a year ago for the Detroit Tigers, has a power arm, good fastball, and a slider. He'll throw a sinker as well, but pretty much two-pitch pitcher. Career 3.20 ERA. Angels signed him as a free agent this offseason. Inked him to a 1-year deal. Here's his first pitch. And that's a fastball up and in for ball 1. It's 1 ball, no strikes on Davis. Albuquerque is a pitcher who takes his time out there on the mound. Not a real fast worker on the next delivery. That's a strike. Davis checked on that pitch. It was in there. Mike Morin, who pitched last inning, had a clean top of the 3rd with a strikeout. Three-two Angels as we begin the 4th, and the pitch, and that one is drilled deep, but a foul ball.
That is one vicious early spring training hack right there.
Yep.
Let it fly. He's going to provide a lot of thunder in the middle of that lineup.
So it's 1-2 on Davis, who played some college baseball at Cal State Fullerton.
Titan, man.
There you go, Jose.
Welcome back to Cali, Chris Davis.
Your alma mater, and there's a swing and a miss, and down goes Davis. Struck him out.
That he will do a lot, too. There's a lot of swings and misses in Chris Davis's game.
So with one out, the batter now is Alonso. He's scored a run for the A's so far as a walk. Angels will put a right side three-man shift on him. Here's the pitch, and that's fouled back to the screen.
That was not a shift swing. That was a good swing, trying to think up the middle the other way by Alonso. It will be better served and more productive if he is not a guy that gets into a lot of the shift.
Backing out of the box goes Alonso. It'll be interesting to see, provided Albuquerque does win a spot in the Angels bullpen. They're certainly counting on that, as this one is hit on a hop on the right side. It's barehanded over there on the right side by the right side infielder Escobar with the shift on, and the throw will be offline over there at first base. It takes Marte off the bag.
Not an easy play because of where Escobar is playing, and the ball was actually almost dying when it got to him. He actually barehanded in short right center field. Throw was wide, but one thing we do notice is that Jeffrey Marte is not all very comfortable around that first base bag. And again, I point out it was not an easy throw to handle either.
They're going to score that a hit. Was fielded back on the outfield grass with the shift on by Escobar. So a single for Alonso. He's on for the second time, and here's Simeon. And there's a pitch that he takes low for ball one. It's 1 ball, no strikes. Albuquerque is pretty much a one-inning type pitcher. He's not a guy that's going to give you any length in relief.
Exactly. You got to also understand when you're going to bring him in.
Right.
He's one of those guys you want to bring in when with a clean slate.
There's the pitch. He misses inside with that one.
He's always had a pretty good fastball.
He has pitched in the big leagues going back to the 2011 season, has 1 career save in 241 appearances. So he could end up, he could be a 7th inning guy for the Angels. We'll see. That spot is open, and the pitch, that one bounces in, and it got away from Soto, and moving up to second base will be Alonso without a throw.
At this point, it's all about options. You've got to have all the options. It's a wild pitch on Albuquerque. We were talking about the options for the 7th inning. Let's not forget about the 6th inning. All so important 6th inning nowadays in baseball, when starters very rarely get past 6 complete or even 7 innings. And the importance of having somebody bridge the gap between your backhand guys and your starter.
There's the pitch, and that's on the outside corner. The guy that pretty much took over the 7th inning role for the Angels last year was Trevor Gott, and then eventually it became the 8th inning role when Houston Street went down right at the end of the season. And on the next delivery, that one is taken for ball 4, so Simeon is on with a walk. So 1 out walk, and they have runners at first and second, and Lambeau will be the next batter. But of course, Gott isn't around anymore. That's why that 7th inning role is wide open here this spring.
You have Albuquerque, you have Salas, you got Bedrosian.
And you could have Warren in there.
More, exactly. So before you know it, somebody else in spring training opens up your eyes and he becomes a candidate. That's how things are.
So Lambeau is the batter. Albuquerque's in a little bit of trouble here. Got the first batter on the strikeout next to reach safely, and the pitch in there for a called strike. Lambeau has driven in a run with an RBI single, and he was also batting when Richards wild pitched in Alonso from third base. It's 3-2 Angels here, top of the 4th. Next pitch, and that is low and in. Albuquerque's one of those pitchers where when he comes in, and because of his control issues at times, he's not a guy that has a whole lot of clean innings in relief.
Got to pick your spots with him.
Yeah. Here's the next pitch, and that's low and inside. So it's 2-1.
Last year, 35% of the runners that he inherited scored. And there are guys that come with that tag. Much better starting off an inning. They get into their game quicker. First batter efficiency goes up, and they don't have to worry about the runners that they inherit.
Here's the next one, and it's hit sharply off the glove of Marte, the first baseman. By the time he recovers, no throw anywhere, and everybody's safe. They have the bases loaded. Marte went to his right, got glove on that one, and then the ball skipped away, hurried to try and scoop it back up, and never got the handle on it. So that's going to be scored a hit as well, and they have them loaded for Muncy with one out. Well, with a little bit of luck in this inning, Albuquerque might be out of it, but he's far from out of it now with the bases loaded, one away.
Another ball that finds Jeffrey Marte. In his career, he's played 709 games at third base, only 36 at first base. And it's very noticeable. He was not very comfortable on that side of the infield.
So here's Muncy, who hit into a fielder's choice his first time up. Albuquerque in trouble with the bases loaded, delivers, and the pitch is inside. The one thing about Albuquerque, Jose, if you look at his big league numbers, he's averaged better than a strikeout per inning pitch. So he's always a guy you could bring in when you need to get that strikeout. And he could use one right here, as that one is cut on and foul tipped into the mid of the catcher Soto.
And then you look at the other side. What has hampered him the most? The walks.
Right.
Career 276 strikeouts in 225 innings, but 125 walks. Well, last year his whip, walks plus hits per innings pitched, 1.55. That's way too high.
So he has Muncy in the hole here, deep in the hole. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He could use a strikeout, and the 1-2 delivery. Tried to pick at that inside corner. Thought he might have had him looking, but the pitch called a ball, so it's 2-2. Angels right now nursing a 3-2 lead here in the fourth, but certainly in jeopardy. The next delivery, that's low and in, nearly hit Muncy, and that's going to run the count full, and the bases loaded, a walk would force in a run.
That becomes pitch number 20, and the bullpen immediately has to be alive.
So we'll see what gives on the payoff pitch as Albuquerque is set. He delivers, and it's cut on and missed. He got him, struck him out.
Well, you said he needed what?
Needed the strikeout. Looked like he got him with a slider there.
He did a good job bouncing back on that one. He does average over 11 strikeouts per 9 innings in his career. That's a big one here in the spring, early for him.
So this is kind of what you might see from an Albuquerque. Hopefully not as far as the base runners here in this inning, but we'll see if he can pitch out of the trouble. There's one that's a little bit low and inside, but a little bit of everything in this inning. A walk, 2 singles, a wild pitch, 2 strikeouts.
Who's out there, Ramon Ortiz? Our good buddy Ray Ray.
Here's the next pitch, a cut and a miss. So it's 1-1 on Maxwell. Oakland catcher today. He's hit into a double play his only time up.
A lot of role players for the A's throughout the years. They've done a great job matching and platooning and finding the most and the best out of guys that many organizations wrote off or perhaps were not considered these top prospects, and they find a way to put them up there, make them competitive, and find the right role for them.
You know, Bob Melvin, their manager, kind of a mix and match manager.
And, of course, a lot of it is driven because of the financial limitations they've had through the years.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. And that one is low. So now it's 3-1. Bases are loaded. 2 outs. Albuquerque's hit, needs a strike, and the pitch. That's grounded right to short. Should be the end of the inning. The flip to second in time. Navarro to Giavotella. And after all that, they fail to score. Inning ends on a fielder's choice. Bases left loaded for Oakland in the 4th. Angels still up by a run, 3-2. We go to the bottom of the 4th on the Angels Baseball Radio Network. Fans, don't forget, host a business function or celebrate a special occasion in your own private suite at Angel Stadium. Suite rentals offer all-inclusive food and beverage packages. Visit angels.com/suites. And as we start off the bottom of the 4th with the Angels up 3-2, a new pitcher for Oakland, their 3rd today, R.J. Alvarez, former Angel farmhand, 3rd-round pick of the Angels in 2012, who did appear in 21 games for the A's a year ago. First pitch, and that one from Alvarez on Ray Navarro misses low. 1 ball, no strikes. Alvarez really had trouble with the home run ball last year with Oakland. He gave up 7 home runs in just 20 innings last year. He's set. Here's the pitch. Chopped foul. Right off the foot of the batter Navarro, and the count 1 ball, 1 strike.
He's got the class arm. Still a guy that they'd like to see him compact that delivery a little bit more. Great movement, great velocity. And boy, he had a tough time against these Angels in the regular season last year. 4 2/3 innings in 4 games. He allowed 9 hits, 7 earned runs. Angels hitters had a .391 average against him.
He was part of the package the Angels had when they acquired Houston Street from San Diego. Alvarez went over in that deal. And then Alvarez was eventually traded by San Diego to Oakland back in the 2014 offseason. 1-2 is the count now on Navarro. Here's the next pitch. And that one is low and inside.
I recall the days when Mike Scioscia would have a young R.J. Alvarez on the traveling roster or on the depth chart here for spring training, and just remind us once in a while, just watch this kid pitch. give him a chance to come up here and get some experience, get his feet wet. And before you know it, he becomes a valuable piece for your organization to acquire somebody like a Houston Street.
Yeah. Pretty much a two-pitch pitcher, fastball, slider. Alvarez delivers, and that one is cut on and missed, and he got Navarro, struck him out, chased that pitch low and in.
He did collect his strikeouts last season, 23 and 28.
So Escobar, who's been the leadoff man for the Angels, will bat for the third time today. He's 1 for 2. Escobar. Very light breeze here in Tempe today. The Angels Cactus League home opener. Angels are going to be playing a couple on the road on Friday and Saturday, and then we'll be back here on Sunday to take on the Royals. Tomorrow the Angels will face the Cubs, and Saturday the Angels will be in Peoria to take on Seattle. Here's the next pitch, 1-0. Called strike outside corner on Escobar. 1 ball, 1 strike on Yunel. And the next delivery, way low and outside. Well, with Escobar getting his third at bat, Calhoun waiting on deck for his third, and then Trout. Kind of wonder if the regulars will get more than 3 at bats here today. We'll see how it all plays out.
Why not? They're here to play ball, right? Get ready for a season.
There's a pitch low. 3-1 is the count. Tell you what, that's a loaded Angels dugout right now. There are a lot of other people itching to get some action in before this one is over.
Including maybe some former Angels here as coaches like Lottie.
Yeah.
And the Molina brothers. Always great to see them. Benji and Jose Molina as guest instructors. But Benji is a guest instructor. Jose now part of the organization.
Right.
As the catching instructor for the Angels.
On the 3-1 delivery, was inside on Escobar, so he has a 1-out walk. Angels have a base runner for Calhoun, who's had a pair of singles today. And that's going to be it for Escobar, so he will be lifted for a pinch runner. So that might be the tip-off that the regulars are going to get just the 3 at-bats here today.
I believe we have Caleb Cowart. There he is at first base.
Here's the pitch. There's one chopped on the right side, just out of the reach of Coughlin and through into center, and that's going to be the 3rd hit of the day for Cole Calhoun. So runners at first and second, 1 out. We'll see if Calhoun might be lifted for a pinch runner. Another single for the Angels. 9 hits so far in the early going, and they've all been singles.
Another short swing, also by Cole Calhoun. Nice to see that.
Mike Trout stepping up with some more people on base. Well, for the time being, Calhoun is still over there at first base, so he's going to have a chance to run the bases, it looks like. Cowart, who's the lead runner, came in a pinch run for Escobar. Will probably take over for him at third base when we get to the 5th. Here's a pitch on Trout. That one is low and away for a ball.
Cowart, who's pretty much off the map with the Angels a couple of years ago, made himself quite valuable again. Bouncing back, making the jump to AAA, impressing enough, getting the call-up last year. But now he and Kyle Kubica will have to earn it more on the versatility side. As Mike Scioscia announced early in camp, these guys are not going to be centered only on playing third base, but for Cowart, who's taking ground balls at second base, and for Kubica, as he started last year, even some fly balls in the outfield. There's
a fake pickoff move to second. Cowart gets back to the bag. Trout steps out of the batter's box with the count. 1 ball, no strikes on the Angels all-star center fielder. Trout did not commit a single error last year, but did not win a Gold Glove.
Not related. As much as people want to think, they're not related.
Here's the pitch. That's lifted in the air into left center field, and it's going to fall in for a base hit. Run is going to score, and it's second base with an RBI double. Giving the Angels a 4-2 lead is Mike Trout.
Top of the order has been quite busy. From the table setters to the guy that was supposed to produce. Mike Trout 3 for 3. Calhoun 3 for 3. We have Escobar on base twice. The pinch runner score, so things are panning out very nicely here. The first home game for the Angels for the regular playoffs.
Mike Trout will be lifted for a pinch runner. So runners at second and third. Rafael Ortega is the pinch runner for Mike Trout out there at second base. Calhoun, the lead runner at third. Still only 1 out. Angels up 4-2. And Crone, who's been up with people on base all day long, steps up with a chance to drive in a couple more. He's had 1 RBI so far today on a sac fly. Pretty good day for Trout. Leaves 3 for 3. 2 singles, a double, and an RBI. Also scored a run. Here's the pitch. Popped foul back behind the plate.
As we talk about the Gold Glove, there's a young man in Tampa Bay by the name of Kevin Kiermaier, who is absolutely out of this world defensively in center field. He won the Gold Glove.
Yep.
Not to take away from Mike Trout, who is outstanding himself, but Kiermaier's arm, range, everything in metrics, in instinct, in the boulders, just have him way above Mike Trout.
Here's the next pitch, and this is popped in the air, shallow right field toward the line, foul ground under. Making a running over the shoulder catch is the first baseman Alonso, so that will be out number 2, and the runners have to hold. Crone is retired on the foul pop on the first base side, and Soto will be the next batter. But it does seem a bit unfair that you play 159 games, and almost all of them for Trout were in center field. You do not commit a single error, and you make some of the most amazing catches up against the wall or over the wall, for that matter, and you still don't win a Gold Glove.
Oh, it is unfair, but that's the name of the game. It's not always fair. And now, we can't blame members of the media or anybody being biased. Remember, it's a divided vote where you have managers and coaches voting on this whole thing. So you have guys that understand the game and what it takes and how metrics have changed. But yeah, does it hurt that he didn't get it? Of course. But you can't ignore the fact that the other guy in Tampa Bay is unbelievable also in center field.
This is a pitch a little bit low. That's one of the few things, I guess, so far in Trout's young career that he has not won. He hasn't won a Gold Glove.
Think about this.
Yeah.
How many people thought that Cole Calhoun was going to win a Gold Glove before Mike Trout did?
Right.
How many people thought that Hector Santiago was going to be an all-star before Garrett Richards was? That all happened last season.
2-0 the count on Soto, and that pitch comes in and hits him. Hit by the pitch. It knocked the helmet right off his head, but he appears to be okay. So a little bit of a scary moment there, but apparently he's okay.
Good reaction there by the veteran. He's at the last minute turning.
Came up high near that head and got a piece of the shoulder. So now they're loaded. Alvarez obviously having some trouble in his first inning for Oakland, and the Angels are going to pinch hit for Marte, and this is Ji-Man Choi, who will probably stay in and take over at first base for Marte. Choi was in the starting lineup yesterday and had a tough day at the plate. Here's the pitch. He takes that one low for ball 1. Against the Giants yesterday, as they're going to have a meeting at the mound right now with Alvarez. Choi ended up with a couple strikeouts, although he did have a hit as well, so it wasn't that bad of a day. He was 1 for 3, but a pair of strikeouts. Meeting at the mound is over. Bases loaded. Angels trying to add some more here.
Oh, I see it now. Okay.
Choi, a switch hitter. He's batting from the left side, the South Korean.
Showed a nice swing yesterday. Putting the ball up the middle.
First time up in yesterday's game, and then struggled making contact after that. The pitch, and that one is low.
Terry, you got to go back and recount that terrific switch hitting story about this young man. Pretty unusual.
Yeah, and it began last year. 2015 season. He didn't even play much last year as well because of the injuries, but he had never switched hit as a youngster in South Korea playing baseball, and he started to switch hit as a pro.
It takes a lot of guts,
right,
and confidence, and of course a lot of practice to take it into a game.
There's a pitch he swings and misses, and the count on him is 2 balls and 1 strike.
Hitting instructors rave about his approach and how similar the swings are from both sides of the plate.
He is a natural left-handed hitter, and that's how he's batting here against the right-hander Alvarez. The 2-1. Chops that one foul back behind the plate. Last few years, Choi has had a lot of injury issues. He's had some back problems, broken fibula last year. He's also served a 50-game suspension in the minors.
Yep, we're doing the wrong things.
Here's the pitch, and that is just a little bit outside. So Alvarez, who struggled with his control in the inning, a walk and a hit batter, not getting the benefit of the doubt on that one. And now it's a full count with the bases loaded. A walk would force in a run. So we'll see what gives here. Angels up 4-2, batting with 2 outs, bases loaded in the 4th. The pitch, and this one is tapped foul back behind the plate. So Choi hangs in there, fouling that pitch off.
The Angels have made the relievers work for the A's. A little. They're close to 30 pitches, and here comes Alvarez, who's already made 25.
Do have action in their bullpen. They have a right-hander up in the pen. Visiting bullpens here at Tempe Diablo Stadium are open-air bullpens in foul territory deep down the left field side. Angels bullpen behind the wall out in right center. 3-2 pitch outside, and that is a bases-loaded walk. So it forces in a run. Angels are up 5-2. And Nava will be the next batter, the 8th batter in the inning. Choi will get an RBI on that walk. Calhoun scores. His day is probably over.
As we talk about many faces in the Angels roster, also faces in the Angels staff. Ron Renicky is back. Now Dave Anson is the main hitting instructor. Paul Sorrento becomes his assistant. Gary DiSarcino over to first base. Alfredo Griffin, full-time infield coach. Scott Radinsky, new Angels bullpen coach. Steve Solis moves over now to more player information coach and day-to-day scouting and game-to-game scouting.
Here's the pitch, and there's one that's hit well into center field, but backpedaling and under, making the grab out there is Burns. He retires Nava, and the inning will end on that ball hit the center field. Angels in the inning come up with a pair of runs, and will take a 5-2 lead to the top of the fifth. That's where we're headed on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. We get set to move to inning number 5. A lot of changes for the Angels. Usually they start coming around this time of the ball game. Angels have a new pitcher in the game. Tyler DeLoach will take over. Tell you about him in just a moment. And a whole new look in the outfield for the Angels. Quentin Berry is now in left field. Daniel Nava has left the game. New center fielder is Rafael Ortega. Mike Trout has left. And the new right fielder is Todd Cunningham, as Cole Calhoun has left the ball game as well. At first base, G-Man Choi. And at third base is Caleb Cowart. So that appears to be the changes right now for the Angels. And the big left-hander DeLoach delivers, and the first pitch, that's way low and outside on Sam Fold. It's 1 ball, no strikes.
DeLoach is a guy that watching him throw some bullpens and throw into some hitters could be a little distracting because he does throw from that first base side, and he's got that slinger with wrist right behind him.
There's a pitch that's outside, and the count goes to 2-0. He's a big guy, 6'6", 240-pounder, non-roster invitee in Angels camp. 26th round pick of the Angels in 2012. He pitched at Arkansas and Salt Lake last year.
Sam Folt's got that look like, really? This early in spring, you're going to throw that at me?
And there's one that's outside as well. It's ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes. Tyler DeLoach with a 4.97 ERA last year between AA and AAA, and he misses with that fastball high, and it's a 4-pitch walk on Sam Fold. We're going to have a pinch hitter for Billy Burns, so his day is over. He went 0 for 2. And pinch hitting will be Tyler Ladendorf. That's from the right side. Here's the first pitch, and that one inside, and young Tyler DeLoach has yet to throw a strike. He's behind 1 ball, no strikes.
Being a little jittery. Seems like he's not quite comfortable yet with his delivery and his mechanics. Even on the follow-through, you can see where he's a bit out of rhythm.
Leidendorf was in 9 games last year for the A's. He actually made their opening day roster last year. But then in the month of May suffered a left ankle injury and had surgery on that ankle to pitch. That's a breaking pitch inside. 2-0. So Leidendorf trying to find himself out there on the mound, struggling with his command. There's the next pitch, and he misses again. 7 straight pitches have been out of the strike zone. And no doubt, Jose, this is the case of a young pitcher for the first time in an Angel uniform having some issues throwing strikes. There's a pitch in there for a called strike. So 3-1 on the pinch hitter, Leidendorf.
Not seeing that transition from the bullpens in the backfield to what we see here right now, but nothing unusual when you're trying to go out there first time and impress, get out of your element. Hopefully you'll find it and get back on track.
And in the case of DeLoach, he is a starting pitcher in the Angels system, so this kind of a role he's not accustomed to, but I'm sure a lot of nervous energy out there. The next pitch, swing and a miss. So he's come back from 3-0 to run the count full, 3-2. We'll see if he can come all the way back and get him. DeLoach a year ago struck out nearly a hitter an inning in the minors, and the next pitch, a swing and a miss. He got him, struck him out. So missed on 3 in a row, and then comes back and throws 3 straight strikes to polish off the pinch hitter. Good job.
Yeah, getting back into it. Just allowing your mechanics to get back into a flow. And as you mentioned, as a starting pitcher, it's not that easy sometimes to go out here in this situation and get into a rhythm. But much different his delivery for the last 3 pitches.
So another pinch hitter, Renato Nunez, as he bats for Coghlan. Chris Coghlan went 0 for 2 today. And the first delivery cut on and missed for strike 1. So Bob Melvin starting to filter in his reserves as well. Here's the pitch, and that one a little bit inside. Chris Davis is DHing, is waiting on deck, so he will get at least one more at bat for Oakland. Angels are up 5-2. We're in the 5th inning. This game today a little slower pace than yesterday's game. It was a fast game yesterday for the first exhibition game. You're kind of thinking automatically we're going to go 3 hours or more, and yesterday was just a little over 2.5 hours.
Good pitching, a lot of strikes, good defense. And the clock running.
2 balls, 1 strike here on Renato Nunez. And there's a pitch that comes in and gets a piece of Nunez, hit by the pitch. That was coming up and in on him. He's okay as he trots slowly over there to first base.
There's one where for DeLoach, just release point getting away from him. And as we talk about the clock, Terry, now the pitching coaches in those visits will be timed under the new league rules. 30 seconds.
Clock is ticking.
There we go. Charles Nagy makes his outing out to the mound. And the clock is down now to 14 seconds. And we'll start at 30.
Charlie Nagy, the Angels pitching coach, trotting back to the coach's bench area.
There's going to be a lot of jogging this season.
The pitching coaches are going to have to keep in better shape.
No doubt. Of course, not that most of them just make sure they are to keep up in a long season.
So here's Davis batting, and the first delivery on him misses for ball one. It's 1 ball, no strikes.
Chris Davis also being followed closely by his former manager with the Brewers, now Angels third base coach, and Ron Renick. We saw this young man blossom and gave him an opportunity.
Next delivery misses for ball two. It's 2 balls, no strikes on Davis.
This game also presents a unique view, Terry, for us. 2 former recent big league managers coaching third base, and Ron Washington and Ron Renick.
There's a pitch, it's high. And we're talking about a couple of ex-big league managers who took their respective teams to the postseason. And in the case of Ron Washington, back-to-back years in the World Series.
The World Series.
Right. So it's 3 balls, no strikes, 1 out, 2 on. The next pitch, green light, and he pops him up. Boy, that's a break. Third base side, Coward waiting for it to come down on the dirt. The Angels' third baseman will put that one away.
I agree with the decision there to let him swing. Why not? Have a struggling guy on the mound. And with one swing, you could put your team right back into this game. And with the power that Chris Davis has early in spring, let him swing. But with the Loach and the veteran behind the plate, Soto not taking for granted and making it to that fastball was going to be spotted well.
So 2 outs and another pinch hitter. Matt Olson will be the batter. And there's a pitch that's way outside. It misses for a ball. Olson, another big guy, 6'5", 230-pounder, the A's pinch hitter. And he had a huge year for them back in 2014 in the minors. 37 home runs in A-ball. Ooh. Drove in 97. There's a pitch in there for a strike. 1-1 to count.
That's a lot of hitting. It doesn't matter where you play, man. 37 is 37.
Lefty-lefty matchup. Olson had 17 home runs last season in Double-A. And in 3 years in the minors, Jose, 86 home runs. So he has some raw power. First-round pick. And that was back in 2012. One of the better A's prospects batting the pitch. That's low and outside. 2-2 the count. Let's pause for stations to identify themselves on the Angels Baseball Radio Network. Terry Smith, Jose Mota, and Darren Chan with you. 5th inning from Tempe. The Angels are up 5-2. And there's a swing and a miss. Down on strikes goes the pinch hitter Olson, and the inning is over. A couple strikeouts for Tyler DeLoach here in inning number 5. We're headed to the bottom of the 5th. Angels have a 3-run lead, 5-2 Halos on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox. Have a number of changes for the Oakland A's as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. And they have a new pitcher in the ball game. And he is a former Angel. Ryan Brazier is the new pitcher. So we saw Alvarez last inning, former Angel farmhand, and now Ryan Brazier, who was with the Angels, former draft pick of the Angels in 2007, and spent a little time with the Halos at the major league level as well.
Yeah, and arm issues just derailed him, his path here with the Angels, because the Angels did have something carved out for him to be part of this, not the rotation, but the bullpen depth.
Here's the pitch that's grounded on the right side. It's gobbled up by the new second baseman, Joey Wendell, and his throw will get Johnny Giavitello for the first out. So Giavitello 1 for 3 today. Ray Navarro will be the next batter. R.J. Alvarez, who pitched last inning for Oakland, worked an inning, and he gave up 2 hits, also 2 runs. They were both earned. He walked 2. He struck out 1, and he also hit a batter. Brazier's pitch, and that one is outside on Ray Navarro. Ryan Brazier, back to his days with the Angels. Fastball, he would top out around 97. Good slider.
He could really bring it.
Sinker and a changeup, a pitch he didn't use a whole lot.
He's out of Wichita Falls, Texas.
And if memory serves me right, Jose, he was a former catcher.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, wasn't originally a pitcher and got converted to pitching from behind the plate and got to the big leagues.
Pitched 7 games for the Angels back in 2013, 9 innings. He allowed 2 runs.
There's a pitch that misses outside on Navarro. So it's 2 balls and 1 strike. A's have a number of new faces defensively. Here's the pitch. That's chopped sharply on the first base side. It's a fair ball, and it's going to roll down in the right field corner. Navarro is going to stop at second, and he is there with a 1-out double. So that's his first hit of the day. And it looks like Navarro will now head to the Angels dugout for a pinch runner, so his day is over.
It's Alex Yarborough taking over. Nice job by Ray. Nice day on the field defensively. Good job here with the bat to finish off 1 for 3.
So the batter for the Angels is Caleb Cowart, as he steps up for the first time. Came into a pinch run for Escobar, who was the Angels leadoff man today. And there's one that's cut on and fouled off on the left side, backing out of play. No balls and 1 strike on the switch hitter, Cowart. That's left-handed against Brazier. Cowart hit just 174 last year in 34 games with the Angels. Had a homer, drove in 4.
Played outstanding defense.
Brazier taking a long look and now delivers pitch foul back.
Just think about where Caleb Cowart was, just say, a year ago. Not even near big league camp.
Taken off the 40-man roster. Back on there now, but a year ago taken off it.
And he had to earn his way, not just back to the 40-man roster, but he earned his way to the 25-man roster during the season.
Brazier set. Here's the next pitch. Cut and a miss. So Cowart is a strikeout victim. And that'll be the second out in the inning. Still at second base is Yarborough, the pinch runner. And Todd Cunningham, who took over for Cole Calhoun in right field, gets ready for his first at bat today.
Excellent execution there by Ryan Brazier. The fastball and finally getting down to that breaking ball. near Cowher's feet.
Want to remind Angel fans, Experian, let's get serious about your credit. Go to Experian.com today. Five-2 Angels. We're in the bottom of the fifth. Get to get the attendance today here at Tempe Diablo Stadium. Angels Cactus League home opener. Rafael Ortega will be up next if the inning continues. Angels have out-hit the A's 11-4 and outscoring them right now 5-2. There's a pitch in there for a called strike.
It doesn't matter which year, the names, the Oakland A's do a fine job finding good, reliable young pitching in any sort of transaction and then putting them in the hands of people in the minor leagues and development, and then they get to the big leagues and they're in the hands of Mr. Kurt Young, one of the best and perhaps underrated pitching coaches in baseball.
Yep.
You talk about where the A's rank and shutouts throughout the years, and was minimizing damage, developing young pitchers.
There's a pitch that misses inside, so it's 2 balls and a strike on Cunningham.
Last season, for example, the A's were 13th out of 30 teams in quality starts. And you figure, well, they have Sonny Gray, and then you know, most people have to look and see who else is behind them. But guys, Jesse Chavez, who's not here anymore, but Hahn and so many other names here and there. Jared Parker's on his way back. Hopefully he is healthy again after so many issues with that right elbow. But they find a way to find some arms to go out there and develop, fight for you, get the job done.
Ryan Brazier trying to win a spot, maybe a final bullpen spot for the Oakland A's this spring. Mentioned they've done a lot of retooling as far as their bullpen during the offseason. The pitch it's fouled off on the left side.
Their bullpen was an absolute disaster last year.
Well, the one guy they're banking on probably to close for them, Jose, is John Axford, who last season had 25 saves with the Rockies. So he's in the mix for the closer's role. He signed a 2-year deal with them. They also added Ryan Madsen.
A huge piece. Ryan Madsen had an outstanding season last year with Kansas City. World champions. Madsen had a 2.13 ERA. And I know his mentality is one thing. I want to be the closer here in Oakland.
Here's the pitch. There's a fly ball lifted into right field, but backpedaling and under, making the grab on it is Smolinski, who's out there now in right, and that's how the inning will end. Cunningham and the Angels are retired. No runs for the Angels here in the fifth, so we go to the sixth. Halos are up on the Oakland A's 5-2 on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox. Well, as we head to the 6th inning with the Angels up 5-2, the Angels make a few more changes. New shortstop is Roberto Baldacchini. New second baseman is Alex Yarbrough. And the Angels also have made a change out on the mound. We're going to see Yuneski Maya, Cuban native who's pitched in the big leagues with the Washington Nationals, pitched in South Korea, pro ball in Korea last year. He also pitched a little bit in the Dominican last year as well. And he features a fastball. He's got a good curveball, slider, and a split finger pitch he'll use. So he's ready, and here's the first delivery, and that's lined and caught at third base by Caleb Cowart. Chad Pinder was robbed right there, as going up the ladder is Caleb Cowart to take that one out of midair for out number 1.
That's pretty much what we saw in the upgrade at third base defensively by Cowart when he came up last season. Outstanding timing, leap, and secure hands. And for Maya, he's not going to fool you. He's a contact type guy. He needs to really pitch down in the zone. He will throw everything at you, Terry. Probably about 6 or 7 different pitches and different looks, but nothing really overpowering.
And the first delivery, that one is in there for a called strike on Andrew Lambeau, batting for the 3rd time. He's had a couple of hits today. Lambeau, the left fielder for the A's. Maya, right-hander, and the next pitch. And that one is hit well down the right field side, tight to the line, but that ball is foul down in the right field corner.
Yeah, some hard contact from 2 batters already. Finesse is a must for a guy like Maya, who at least is trying to be part of that depth for the Angels. Either the swingman out of that bullpen was a starter in the minors, but certainly just want to come out here and make a good impression. A very solid, as he mentioned, Terry. Winter ball season for Licey in the Dominican.
Here's the next delivery. Grounded sharply on the right side. Nice stop over there, and the throw is in time. That was Baldacchini with the shift on who made that nice sprawling stop on that one. So you have a couple of countrymen out there for the Angels. Baldacchini from Cuba and the pitcher Maya from that island country as well.
His job on that shift, he knew exactly where his partner to his left was and how far he could range in that direction. Baldacchini, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, truly feeling way more comfortable and filling in his body too. He's added some muscle.
At the plate, Joey Wendell batting from the left side. This is his first at bat today. He's hitting out of Muncie's spot. Wendell was playing second base in this ball game for Oakland now. And the next pitch, high fly ball lifted into right field. Easy play for Cunningham. He is underweighting. He'll squeeze it. And it's a clean inning for Maya here in the top of the 6th. We're headed to the bottom of the 6th. It's 5-2 Angels on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West.
by the time we came here last year, I've gone back. I'm here the first time.
Today's game being brought to you by In-N-Out Burger. That's what a hamburger's all about. Angels set the bat, bottom of the 6th inning, and the first batter up is Rafael Ortega. Tries to bunt one and drops it down foul on the first base side. There's a new pitcher for the Oakland A's, left-hander Mark Zepchinski. Another one of the new pieces in their bullpen. He was with the Padres and the Indians last year, pitched in 72 games last year, and he is known as a lefty specialist. And the pitch, it's low and outside. Zepchinski went to UC Riverside, played high school baseball at Servite High School in Anaheim.
He's learned through the years, just take the baseball and specialize in getting those lefties out. Here's his first chance against Ortega.
And the next one, that's fouled off. Zepchinski spells his last name R-Z-E-P-C-Z-Y-N-S-K-I.
Get the eye chart ready.
Yeah. And he was nicknamed by a fellow baseball player a number of years ago as Scrabble. Because of, he's got double Z's in that last name. He has a Y in that last name. He has a C in that last name. Begins with the letter R, his surname, but it's pronounced Zepchinski. Lefty reliever. 2-2 the count. Here's the next pitch. Popped up on the third base side. Nunez and the shortstop, and it's going to be the shortstop Hinder who makes the grab at the last moment. It was really the third baseman's ball. It was almost in foul territory on the third base side, but Hinder calling for it, making the grab. The shortstop, that's the first out.
For Zepchinski last year, is .255 average against left-handers, but a .372 average with a .460 on base against right-handers.
Well, the thing was, you look at his numbers, Jose. I mentioned he was in 72 games last year, but he pitched a total of 35 innings.
Nice.
So he was coming in a lot of times just to face one batter.
Where's Tony Passes?
Yeah,
huh?
That's right. That's a good call right there. Jet Bandy is batting for the Angels now. This is C.J. Cron's spot, so his day is done. There's a hard hit ground ball, third base side. Nice stop by Nunez. And the throw, it's going to be in time to rob Bandy of extra bases right there. Boy, that was a nice play. That ball gets over the third base bag. It's going to roll, in all likelihood, down into foul territory in left field. That would have easily been a double, but instead it's out number 2.
Outstanding play. Good job. Good range. Nunez to his right. Bandy hit the ball and thought he had a double. He actually started curving around that first base line as he rounded.
So the batter now is Chad Hinshaw. And this is his first at bat today. He's hitting out of Soto's spot, the number 5 spot, the catcher spot.
You know, I think
I see Bandy stay in the game behind the plate. Hinshaw might stay in, possibly in the outfield. We'll see. Choi is waiting on deck. 2 outs, 5-2 Angels. Bottom of the 6th, and the pitch. It's right in there for a called strike. Zepchinski fastball, good slider and changeup. Those are the pitches he will feature.
He averages around 8.5 strikeouts per 9 innings in his career. Just over 3.5 walks.
There's a pitch cut on and missed, and now the count on Chad Hinshaw. 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Hinshaw near the end of yesterday's game against the Giants. Young player, an outfielder in the Angels system who has good speed. Hit .291 last year. Most of the action coming at Arkansas AA. It's worked a full count here, 3-2.
Angels at Cubs tomorrow in Mesa. We'll check out our good friend Joe Madden. And those Cubs who have become favorites.
Here's a pitch cut on and missed by Hinshaw, and that's how the inning will end, the strikeout. So a clean inning for Zipchinski. 7th inning is coming up in Tempe. Angels up 5-2 on Oakland on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Here we go to the 7th inning. Angels have a new battery. We'll tell you about the new pitcher and catcher in just a moment. And we want to remind Angel fans to become a season seat holder to enjoy exclusive benefits and the same seats all season long at the greatest value. Visit angels.com for more information. New pitcher is Corey Rasmus, and the new catcher is Juan Graterol. Player in his first year in the Angels organization, had been in the Yankees system in the past. And the first batter is Brian Anderson, batting for the first time today for Oakland. Anderson came in behind the plate, now batting out of Bruce Maxwell's number 8 spot. He was their starting catcher. First delivery from Rasmus, a ball to count 1 ball, no strikes. And the pitch, that's a liner into right field. That's going to fall in for a base hit. Anderson will make the turn and stop at first base. He is on with a sharply hit single to right. A's have a base runner. That's only their 5th hit today. Maya, who pitched last inning, had a 1-2-3 inning. And now Corey Rasmus becomes pitcher number 6 of the day for the Angels.
Corey Rasmus has served as Mr. Everything for the Angels last couple of seasons, even though he was hampered last year by the abdominal injury and eventual surgery that affected him right out of spring training. But boy, he has been a plus for the Angels. A spot starter once in a while, coming out in relief. Hopefully, Terry, he'll find that rhythm again. It'll make him a valuable piece out of that bullpen.
Jake Smolinski's at the plate. And the count is even on him now. It's 1 ball, 1 strike.
Rasmus is a max effort, fearless pitcher. Good fastball, pretty good overhand breaking ball, outstanding changeup.
Here's the next pitch, and that one is outside. And Rasmus is in a situation where he is out of options. So if the Angels did not plan on having him break camp for the start of the regular season,
Guess what?
He would have to clear waivers to get sent back down to the minors.
Homes like that don't clear waivers very often.
Yeah. There's one fouled back behind the plate. So a pretty good bet that he is going to be somewhere in that Angel bullpen when the season begins, barring any injury issues. And again, that was a big problem for him last year. Jose mentioned the abdominal problem. And then late in the season, in August last year, he developed a forearm strain. Here's the pitch. And that's a check swing, pitch a little bit low. It's a full count, 3-2.
How valuable has he been for the Angels? Well, when the Angels won 98 games 2 years ago, well, Mike Scioscia had no doubt whatsoever when there was a need for a starter to go ahead and make it a bullpen day, anchored by one Colby Rasmus.
Yep. Corey
Rasmus, his brother Colby with the Astros.
Here's a fly ball lifted into right field, circling under toward the line. Making the grab on it is Cunningham. Easy out on Smolinski. That's a first out here in the 7th. So one away with a runner at first base.
Colby, outstanding year last season for the Astros, and he's one of those players that jumped that qualifying offer very quickly. Now Wieters and Ryan Anderson, Dodgers pitcher.
The Dodgers found out today is going to be sidelined anywhere from 3 to 5 months. And a guy that has just had trouble staying healthy.
And the Oakland A's know better than anybody about Anderson's issues and not being able to stay on the field.
Yeah. Leidendorf at the plate. First pitch on him, a ball. The count, 1 ball, no strikes. Here's the next delivery, and that's waved at and missed. Rasmus has a good curveball, good changeup, and he'll get it up there with that fastball as well. It'll reach the mid-90s. Throws a slider as well. He's had some command issues in the past. One pitch, and that one was way low and inside.
Well,
so 2-1.
There are certain looks that are disappearing from baseball, and one of them is the long, flowing hair. But who else but a Southern California to show us that? Simi Valley High School. Brian Anderson at first base. Huh?
Sure does.
A surfer look in him. Good for him. It's also, kind of a throwback to the athletics of the Eric Chavez days and the Giambi brothers.
Oh, yeah.
With that flowing hair. Huh? In fact, Eric Chavez now is part of the Angels organization.
So Brian Anderson play a little bit near the end of last season with Oakland. There's a cut and a miss by Leidendorf, so it's a full count.
Yeah, Anderson was actually drafted in 2005 in the 4th round by St. Louis. Born in Thousand Oaks, Simi Valley High School. You can ask the Weaver brothers about him a little bit.
Yeah. Here's the pitch. Lifted in the air in the left field. That ball's hit well. Chasing after it, though, making the running catch. A few feet from the rim of the track is Quentin Berry, who has good speed, and he nabs that one. That's the second out.
Here's a pretty cool story. You talk about birthdays today. Let's go way back, Terry. Ready? Willie Keeler. He was 5'4", 140 pounds. Became a Hall of Famer back in 1939. But in the 1899 season, 633 at-bats. Only 2 strikeouts.
2 strikeouts.
2 strikeouts.
Holy mackerel.
One came in the month of April, and the other one came in the month of May. And after that, nada. Birthday today.
Well, what's the line? They don't make them like they used to? Wow. 2 strikeouts. And how many at-bats was that?
633 plate appearances.
That's unbelievable. One ball, no strikes. Here's the pitch, and that one is high. 2-0 the count. Mentioned Willie Keeler. I saw a note on him. He had 202 singles in one season. 202 singles. I mean, I don't know that that's ever happened since, and that was back in 1898.
That's pretty remarkable.
Hall of Famer. Little guy, as Jose alluded to, 5'4" and about 140 pounds.
Terry, I'm sorry for his OPS, but he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. Here's the pitch. That's a called strike on the outside corner. So Rasmus has evened it up 2-2 here on Nunez. He's batting for the second time. He's hit by a pitch his first time up. Angels have a 5-2 lead here in the 7th. And the next delivery fouled off down the left side, backing out of play.
Well, the good thing about that breaking ball, which was hanging, is the fact that it kind of tailed in just a bit on the batter. Nunez, that was elevated, very little spin and rotation, but just enough in off the plate to make that swing produce a long foul ball.
Angels and Cubs tomorrow in Mesa. Jared Weaver, as Jose mentioned, will pitch that game. Pierce Johnson will be the starting pitcher for the Chicago Cubs. And there's a cut and a miss at a 2-2 pitch. Looking slider gets Nunez reaching, struck him out, and the inning is over. So a solid inning of work for Corey Rasmus as he sets him down without any runs here in the 7th. It's the 7th inning stretch. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Angels up 5-2 on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox. Angels ready to bat. Bottom of the 7th we go. Halos up 5-2. Mark Zepchinski no longer in the ballgame for Oakland, and Ryan Dole, a right-hander, will take over. Zepchinski had a 1-2-3 inning against the Angels with a strikeout. First pitch from Dole. That one's in there for a called strike. G-Man Choi is the batter. Switch hitter batting from the left side. Dole is set, and the next pitch. Little poke into shallow right field. That's going to fall in for a base hit. Choi is aboard. Leadoff single. Angels have picked up some hits today. That is number 12, and only 2 of them have been extra base hits. A double by Trout in the 4th and a double by Navarro in the 5th. Everything else single variety. Quentin Berry is the batter now. This is his first time up. Swings from the left side. First pitch grounded on the right side, just out of the reach of Wendell. That's a base hit. Choi will stop at second. Berry is on with a base hit. Back-to-back hits off of Ryan Dole, and The Angels have something brewing here.
Staying aggressive, swinging the bats. Guys coming off the bench. There's a guy like Ryan Dole starting to just go out there and establish a rhythm of his own by throwing strikes, and the Angels are jumping on it. 13 games for Dole with the A's last season. They're 4.24 ERA. He did have 16 strikeouts in 17 innings, 6 walks. Only allowed 12 hits. Nice whip, 1.06.
Batter is Baldachin, and he showed signs of bunting. Ends up taking the pitch for ball 1. It's 1 ball, no strikes. Ryan Dole has been a closer in the minors for the Oakland A's. He's a former 32nd round pick back in 2012, but as Jose mentioned, got to the majors last year, had a save with Oakland last season. Here's a bunt. It's a pretty good one on the left side, stopped by the pitcher Dole. Only play first base. So the sacrifice by Baldachin moves Troy to third and Ferry up to second. Angels have a couple in scoring position, and Alex Yarbrough will be the next batter.
As you talk about late draftees, let's also welcome Scott Shields. What a big piece he was for Mike Scioscia out of that bullpen. Shields here in camp also as a guest instructor.
Wow.
It's a rubber arm game of the baseball. Let's go out there and get it done. What a combo, Scott Shields and Francisco Rodriguez. Unbelievable.
What was the story we always heard about Shields when he was with the Angels? That back in his college days, he threw in a game over 200 pitches in one game.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
yes, he
in
did.
one game. Here's the 1-0, and that is a strike on the outside corner. 1-1 to count with the infield in.
You can say, okay, wow, unreal. But then you look at his frame and you go, you did that with that frame?
Right. Yeah, Scott Shields, big piece of the Angels' success when he wore an Angel uniform. There's a pitch in there for a strike.
In fact, he and Francisco Rodriguez combined to set a record in strikeouts combined by 2 Angels relievers 3 years back.
Yarbrough at the plate, batting for the first time today. Takes that one low and in. So it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Oakland A's are playing their first Cactus League game today, and they will have a split squad game day tomorrow. One game against the Rockies, and another Oakland squad will take on the D-backs. There's a pitch outside. It misses. So it's a full count, 3-2. Angels are going to have a split squad day coming up, and that'll be on Monday on the 7th. The pitch, and there's a swing and a miss, and Yarbrough is down on strikes. So that's his second out. Still runners at second and third, and Caleb Coward will be the next batter.
Let's not ignore somebody who was also a big piece of the Angels bullpen before Mike Scioscia was aboard. Shigetoshi Hasegawa is also here.
Yep. A lot of guest instructors this spring. 2 balls and 1 strike to count on Cowart. He's been up once with a strikeout. A hit could mean a couple runs. Angels looking to add on here, up by 3 at the moment. And the next pitch, that's low and in. 1 ball, 1 strike. 13 hits for the Angels. They could have used a few of those yesterday against San Francisco. Only had 4 and didn't have any hits after the 5th inning, but not too many of the Angel regulars were there in Scottsdale yesterday. There's a swing and a miss. We saw them today, and they had a footprint in what happened earlier in this ball game. Cole Calhoun, 3 for 3 day. Trout, 3 for 3 day.
Well, you know, when you see the San Francisco Giants, you're going to see some good arms. You're going to see some good pitching.
Here's a pitch a little bit low and inside. 2-2 on Cowart.
Like Kurt Young, Dave Rigetti also does an outstanding job with those guys. And that's what the Angels saw yesterday. Terry, yesterday, adios. Over.
2-2 pitch. Hard hit, but foul right into the Angel dugout. So Coward battling here, 2-2. Oakland A's last year, they finished in last place in the AL West. A lot of people think that could happen again. Only time will tell. But they went just 68-94 last year.
After an outstanding spring, that tells you a lot.
Here's the next pitch. That's outside.
Let's not forget a much improved Seattle Mariners team. And you can say all you want on paper about the A's. Who picked Texas to win the division last year? Anybody? Huh?
Not really.
Many people were saying out of camp, there's a last place team, and what happened later? Well, they won the West.
Here's a swing and a miss at a 3-2 delivery. Coward, a strikeout victim, and the inning comes to an end. Angels lead runners at second and third. So the eighth is next. It's 5-2 Angels here in Tempe on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Fans, here's a deal for you. $19.95 gets you Proactive plus a rotating deep cleansing brush. It's valued at $45. You're guaranteed to get clear and stay clear, or you'll get your money back. Call 1-800-644-5944. That's 1-800-644-5944. Angels have a new pitcher, and he is a left-hander. Lucas Litke will take over. Appeared in one game for Seattle last year. Spent most of last season in AAA. Big guy, 6'4", 205-pounder. And the Angels have flip-flopped their corner outfielder. So Quentin Berry, who is in left field, he's now playing right. And Todd Cunningham, who was playing in right field, he is now in left. First pitch, and that one is fouled off by Matt Chapman, who is batting for the first time today. He's hitting out of Chris Davis's DH spot. Davis went 0 for 3. Litke is ready, and the next pitch. Outside, it misses low. Litke will throw a fastball, top out around 93, slider, curve, and changeup. Rasmus, who worked last inning for the Angels, allowed 1 hit, no runs, and along the way recorded 1 strikeout. As Litke works, he is the 7th pitcher of the day for the Angels. And the 2-1, chopped on the third base side, takes a funny hop, skips off the glove of Coward. He didn't charge that ball, he stayed back on it. That ball skipped right off his glove. So base runner at first base. And I believe they're going to score that a hit.
Always risky, dangerous when you can't decide what to do, especially near the hard surfaces in Arizona. As that ball pretty much ate Coward alive. And again, there's a timing to fielding in spring training too. On first step, charging or not, stay back or not.
Matt Olson is the batter, and the pitch to him, it's a fly ball lifted to right field toward the line over there, and in foul territory, just not able to get to that one is Quentin Berry. That ball took a bounce and then landed back in the seats, but Berry kind of got near it and then stopped, and the ball dropped just out of his reach. Foul ball. He had just shifted over there from left field to right field this inning. No balls, 1 strike to count on Olson. The pitch, left-handed batter takes that one for a strike. Angels up 5-2. We're in the 8th inning here in Tempe. And the next pitch, swing and a miss. Down on strikes goes Olson. That's the first out. Angels pitching today, picking up some strikeouts in this ball game. That looks like number 7. 1 away. Chad Pinder is the next batter.
There's been quite a few of them. And the one guy that did not record one was the guy you expected to see in that column, Garrett Richards.
Yep.
2 innings.
Litke steps off the rubber, time called. Lefty is set, and here's the pitch. It's fouled off on the right side. It goes back and out of play. Lucas Litke has kind of the Matt Shoemaker look going.
Yes, he does, from the other side. So the Shoe pitching yesterday. In fact, Charles Nagy told me today he was very happy to see Matt Shoemaker bounce back after giving up the home run for the second pitch he made. And they're really establishing a good sinker ball down to the zone, and especially this split finger.
There's one that's fouled off over by the Oakland dugout. Scattering, and count, no balls, 2 strikes on Pinder.
You know, in talking to Charles Nagy, he brings that mentality of a guy that threw the split finger. And he says it's so hard sometimes here in Arizona to get a feel for it. But what I tell guys like Matt Shoemaker is, as long as it comes out more like a changeup, if you don't get a good grip on it, that's all I'm going to ask for right now.
Here's the 0-2. And that's low. It bounced away from the catcher Gratterall, so moving up to second base on it will be Chapman. Figures to be a wild pitch. So runner at second. Mentioned Charlie Nagy, the Angels' new pitching coach, and boy, does he have a calm demeanor to him.
No doubt.
Wow. He's a good guy. You can't hear anyone say anything bad about him, and there's a reason. He's just a really nice guy. But he'll be comforting, I think, with the Angels pitching staff. But if he needs to be more forceful, he won't hesitate to do that either.
He's got experience in the big leagues, Terry. That's got pitching championship games. He knows and understands that it takes a whole lot more than just teaching and pushing guys.
There's a cut and a miss at that pitch, and strikeout victim is Pinder. So a pair of strikeouts back-to-back for Litke.
Communication, the way you do it nowadays, has become even more important with the modern-day player. And not to take away anything from what Mike Butcher did here with the Angels staff for so many years. Butcher now has moved on with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and wish he and the D-backs a successful run.
So Josh Rodriguez is the batter, and this is his first time up today. Right-handed batter takes that one for ball 1. It's 1 ball, no strikes.
And for whatever people want to say, anytime you add a guy like a Zach Greinke, you will be a better ball club.
Yep. What did I see last year?
Shelby Miller. I mean, come on, that's a good squad over there.
There's a pitch. It's outside. I have to double check. I think Greinke ended up having, out of 32 starts, 30 of them were quality starts.
That's unreal.
And he didn't win the Cy Young Award. but even more so
with an ERA of 1.6.
Right. Virtually every one of those 30, he gave up 1 run or less, or 2 runs or less. Let's just put it that way. There's one that's fouled back behind the plate.
True to his word, like when he was with the Angels, he said, I'm going to go where the money is. Whoever pays me the most, that's where I'm going to go. He did it to the Angels when the Dodgers offered more money, and now he does it to the Dodgers when the D-backs came out. Almost a last-second deal.
Yeah, they swooped in. That was a big surprise when you found out that the Diamondbacks had signed Greinke. You knew he was going to sign with someone other than the Dodgers in all likelihood, but the Diamondbacks weren't the team that was getting a whole lot of play for Greinke, but they ended up nabbing him.
Dave Stewart, Tony La Russa, the John Watson, their manager Chip Hale. A great job in setting things up for that ball club, not just for this year, but for the upcoming seasons. Also in the way they've stacked the minor league system and the pieces they've traded.
Counts 2-2, and the next pitch. Did he go around on that one? Yes, he did. Strong inning for Litke. Gave up the leadoff hit. Strikes out the next 3 in a scoreless 8th inning. We're headed to the bottom of the 8th here in Tempe. It's 5-2 Angels on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. So here we go to the bottom of the 8th inning, and the first batter up for the Angels is Todd Cunningham. He hits a one-hopper to third. The throw is a little bit late, and Cunningham, who can run, legs that one out. Nunez fielded the ball deep on the left side and just not able to get Cunningham. So he has a hit. That's his first one of the ball game, and Rafael Ortega will be the next batter.
Cunningham's showing pretty good speed. New pitcher on the mound is lefty Daniel Colomb for the Oakland Athletics.
So Ryan Dole, who pitched a scoreless inning last inning, is no longer in. Colomb with a pickoff toss over to first base. Colomb went to USC and originally a property of the Dodgers. Drafted by the Dodgers back in 2012, purchased by the A's from the Dodgers last September. Here's a bunt try, and that one is fouled off right near the plate. 0-1 is the count. Let's pause for stations to identify themselves here on the Angels Baseball Radio Network. Terry Smith, Jose Mota, and Darren Chan with you. Thursday afternoon baseball here in Tempe. Here's another bunt try, and this one will drop fair in front of the plate. The throw to second is high, but jumping up and landing on the bag is the shortstop over there. So out trying to move up to second is Cunningham. Ortega did not get off a good bunt right there. He is safe at first. There was no relay, so it'll be a fielder's choice. Ends up going 2-6 at second, one away, and Jet Bandy will be the next batter.
Nice job there by the catcher, Brian Anderson, taking charge of that play and allowing that ball to drop. Even though that throw almost got away from him and ended up in center field.
Here's Bandy, and he has been up once today with a ground out. He's DHing. First pitch, he takes it for a ball to count. 1 ball, no strikes.
We'll never forget that smile, Terry, from Jet Bandy. He got called up last year and hit a home run against Glenn Perkins in Minnesota.
Yep.
Could not hide, and who blames him? That smile as he rounded the bases.
Here's the pitch, and that one is sharply hit foul on the third base side. Bandy played well last year at AAA Salt Lake, hit .291.
Show some pop.
Yep. Had 11 homers, 60 driven in. And he's a big guy. He's a big catcher. He's pretty good defensively. He's been known to throw out base runners, would-be base stealers. Colom's pitch to Bandy, and it's grounded on the left side and through. In between Nunez and Pinder. And it rolls out to the left fielder, Rodriguez. So Bandy has a hit. Angels have him at first and second with one out here in the 8th, up 5-2. And the next batter will be Chad Hinshaw. Bandy is going to leave for a pinch runner.
Nice day for Jet Bandy. Was robbed on his first at bat back in the 6th inning. A possible double.
Sherman Johnson is going to pinch run for Bandy over there at first base. This is going to be Gratterall batting. He's hitting out of this spot now. And the pitch, and Gratterall batting for the first time takes that one for ball one. It's 1 ball, no strikes. Bottom of the 8th, it's being brought to you by Rotolo Chevrolet in Fontana. Rotolo Chevrolet is pursuing excellence every day. Visit our friends at Rotolo.com. That's Rotolo.com. We'll check out the out-of-town scoreboard for you in just a moment. See what's happening in the Cactus League. Here's the pitch. Gratterall swings at that one and fouls it off right near the plate. Mentioned earlier when Gratterall came into the game, he was in the Yankees system last year. He is a career .266 hitter in the minors. He's known as a good catch and throw guy, native of Venezuela. He's thrown out 38% of would-be base stealers in the minors. And he's a guy that obviously had Billy Epler's eye. Here's the pitch. There's one grounded on the first base side. It's fielded by Olson. He'll solo to the bag. Gratterall is retired, so the runners advance. Ortega up to third, and Johnson up to second. 2 outs now here in the 8th. And Choi will bat. He'll swing from the right side. In the Cactus League in the 9th, Reds up on the Indians 9-1. Brewers split squad has an 8-6 lead against the Giants in Scottsdale in the 8th. Texas up 10-9 against the Royals in the 9th. Colorado and Arizona 5-5 in the 8th inning. Carlos Gonzalez is homered for the Rockies. 9th inning, Seattle is leading San Diego 6-2. Milwaukee split squad beat the Cubs 2-1. Dodgers beat the White Sox 6-1. Out of town scoreboard brought to you by Dodge Challenger. An estimated 30 miles per gallon highway. This car was made for driving. Visit Dodge.com. Next pitch. That's high. Count 1-1 on Choi, who singled his last time up.
He looks like he's ready to put a load on something right here. Very quiet approach. Good hand action for Choi. What we've seen so far. Relaxed hands.
The pitch, he lines that one foul on the right side. 0-2 the count. Seems like in recent years anyway, a few more South Korean players making their way to the big leagues.
Getting the opportunity, capitalizing on it. A higher level of baseball being played in South Korea, where you see a lot of influence now of players from other countries.
The pitch, there's a liner that's going to pop off the glove of the diving shortstop Pinder. A run will score. Another comes in. Choi hustles up to second. He's safe as the ball gets away, but backing up is the center fielder. The Angels add 2 more and now have a 7-2 lead. That was a liner near second base, and the shortstop Pinder went diving to try and nab it in midair. It hit his glove, couldn't hold on, and then it dropped behind him. 2 runs are in. Angels up by 5.
Once again, Choi was ready. Got to break him both down to the zone. Flick those wrists. Nice approach. Foul ball right side. And gets things straightened out, going up the middle. Of course, with a little bit of luck. Ball popping out of that glove, but it does count.
So the batter now is Quentin Berry, and he takes ball 1. It's 1 ball, no strikes.
Terry, it all looks and counts the same in that book.
That's right.
Single, 2 RBIs.
And there's one that's fouled back behind the plate. So the count, 1 ball, 1 strike. Quentin Berry, since coming in, he's been up once with a hit. Colom's pitch, and that one is cut on, and he tips it foul right by the plate. So the count 1-2. Angels will need to get 3 more outs when we get to the 9th inning, and we'll be looking to sew up victory number 1 here in the Cactus League. Here's the next pitch. That's a ground ball hit near short. It goes right between the legs of Pinder. Choi will score from second. That's an error all the way on the shortstop. And the Angels now have an 8-2 lead.
Or it should be, right, Terry? Because nowadays, a lot of official scores are just way too generous in some plays. There should be scored errors than are given hits, but that was a hard hit ball. Nice job of contact there by Berry.
It will be an error, and it should have been. It was hit pretty much right at him. So it's 8-2 Angels. Berry is on over there at first base. That is the first Oakland error today. And the Angels have done a good job. No errors in this ball game. There's one that's chopped foul as Baldacchini is at the plate. He had a sac bunt his first time up. So the Angels have parlayed 3 hits in this inning into 3 runs. Also an error factoring in. There's a pitch in there for a called strike. One and 2 the count. Angels have out-hit the A's 16-6 this afternoon and have outscored them 8-2. Here's one that's way high and outside. Colomb looking in for the sign, and the next pitch, there's a shot into right field. That's going to drop in. That's another hit. Going first to third will be Berry. Hustling up to second is Baldacchini. He is safe. Breaking for the plate is Berry, and he is out. Well, the Angels very aggressive there, but the out at the plate as Berry tried to score, as it turned out, all the way from first base. The play at the plate will end the inning. So the Angels get 3 and will take a 8-2 lead to the 9th inning on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. So we go to the ninth inning, and Javi Guerra is the new Angel pitcher, former Dodger. Angels signed him, and he's in camp and getting ready to make his first appearance this spring for the Angels. He replaces Litke, who worked last inning. He did a nice job. Went an inning, did not allow any runs, gave up a hit, and struck out 3. First pitch from Guerra on Wendell. That one misses ball 1. It's 1 ball, no strikes. Angels up 8-2 here in the ninth inning. Our score update brought to you by Experian. Get serious about your credit by visiting Experian.com. Next delivery, it's chopped on the right side. Good stop by Yarbrough. His throw gets Wendell. That's the first out here in the ninth. Ground out to second. The catcher, Brian Anderson, will be the next batter. Angels have worked the bullpen hard today. Guerra is the 7th reliever, the 8th Angel pitcher of the day. And the pitch, that one is outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Javi Guerra last year was in the White Sox organization. Spent a little bit of time with the Chicago White Sox, the parent club in the big leagues. And he's trying to get his career back on track. He was in 3 games last year with the White Sox. Here's the pitch. That's a cut and a miss. 2 balls and 1 strike. Guerra's always had a good fastball. He'll throw a slider, curve, and changeup. He was suspended for 50 games last year for performance-enhancing drug usage. Here's the next pitch. This one is chopped right to second. Another ball hit to Yarbrough, and his throw is in time, and now the A's are down to their final out. 2 up, 2 away. Jake Smolinski will get ready to bat. Angels have done a lot of good things today, and I'm sure Mike Scioscia well aware of that. He'll visit with Jose when this ball game is over. We'll get some of his thoughts, Mike Scioscia's thoughts on today's ball game. Here's the pitch. That's chopped out towards short, out of the reach of Baldacchini, and it's going to bounce on out into left center for a 2-out single. Smolinski keeps the game alive. That's his first hit. Tyler Ladendorf will be the next batter. Angels and the Chicago Cubs tomorrow in Mesa. Jared Weaver makes his first appearance this spring. Mentioning Javi Guerra, as this one is lifted in the air into left field, not too deep, diving in, unable to make the grab is Cunningham. He went all out for it, diving straight ahead, coming in from left field. Got a little bit of glove on it, but that would have been a terrific play. It's going to be a base hit, and they have him at first and second. 2 outs here in the ninth. Ladendorf's first hit of the game. Batter now is Nunez, who's been playing third base, Renato Nunez. It's 8 hits now for the A's today. Angels have 17 and lead it 8-2. Here's the pitch. That's chopped foul over by the A's on deck circle. Guerra looking in for the sign from catcher Juan Gratterall. Here's the pitch. That's high. Fastball misses. That one looked like it had pretty good velocity. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. Javi Javi Guerra delivers, and that one pitched and misses a little bit low, so it's 2-1. Guerra is ready, and here's the next pitch. That's a little bit low and in. So it's 3-1 on Nunez. Javi Guerra was a pitcher before he finally broke into the big leagues with the Dodgers. He spent some 7 seasons in the minors. There's a pitch on the outside corner. Nunez thought it was ball 4 and said it's strike 2, and now the A's are down to their final strike in the ballgame, a full count.
It's a swing, Sam. It's a swing, Sam.
Guerra, who's pitching for the Angels, 2.87 career ERA in the big leagues. He's ready. We'll see what gives. The 3-2, and it just missed. Wow. Boy, oh boy, with 2 outs and a full count in the 9th inning in an 8-2 game, that one there went to the batter. So the game isn't over yet. Nunez walks, bases are loaded, and the batter is Matt Chapman. He's had a hit since coming into the ball game. So Guerra trying to pitch out of a bases loaded jam and throws that one by him for strike 1. Right-handed batter.
Stay aggressive. Stay aggressive.
No balls, 1 strike to count. Jose is headed downstairs to visit with Mike Scioscia at the conclusion of today's game, and the next pitch, and that one is high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Angels have the infield back. Outfield not very deep. Here's the next pitch. Swing and a miss. Threw that one by him, and now they're down to their final strike again.
This takes 1.
Javi Guerra, between the White Sox and AAA Charlotte last year, pitched just over 5 innings all last season. Of course, he had the suspension to deal with as well on the next delivery. That one missed inside. Year before that, Guerra with the White Sox appeared in 42 games and had a 2.91 earned run average. He broke into the big leagues with the Dodgers back in the 2011 season. And the next delivery, high fly ball, lifted into left field. This should do it. Waiting for it to come down, and squeezing it is Todd Cunningham. And that's how the ball game will end. So the A's end up leaving the bases loaded here, and they fail to score, and the Angels come away with the victory. Their first here in the Cactus League in 2016, beating the Oakland A's this afternoon by the final score of 8-2. Jose will be joined by Angels manager Mike Scioscia in just a moment, and we'll get some of Mike's comments on today's ball game. Angels using a lot of pitchers, as I mentioned here today, a total of 8, and for the most part, they all shined. The only 2 runs the A's got came way back in the 2nd inning, and those were against Angels starter Garrett Richards. He worked 2 innings, gave up a couple hits and 2 runs. Mike Moore in a scoreless inning, Albuquerque a scoreless inning, Deloach, Maya, Rasmus, Litke, and Guerra, all with scoreless innings for the Angels as well. So the Halos get ready to take on the Cubs tomorrow. Jose Mota downstairs. He's joined with Mike Scioscia, and let's go down to Jose.
Thanks, Eric. Well, Mike, we consider your team and seeing a lot of the regulars take the field today. How do you feel about how